It should be there. You don't know that? Your name should be on your back. What are you talking about? You think somebody have fed the police? There's some police station there now.
Just the law. You follow it.
But why
follow the police instruction. I say you're supposed to be here.
Why?
Can you?
I committed a crime. Why you tell all the people not to go back?
You're black.
Why are all the people in the police? I can go. What is going on? Are the police officers hanging? No, I'm
don't want to get you guys. Please leave that place. Obstructing the movement. Let's go down.
Officer, is there any issue? Leave that place. Officer, is there any issue? Do you want to use excessive force on the press, officer?
Leave this place, my friend. Yes, sir. Open away from us. No, open away.
Officer, what does that mean?
I don't want to prove to you that.
So right now, national police officer,
You being shot and then you say that you're not being disrespected? I don't feel very responsible because I have been shot. But you have been shot. You are not being disrespected. I don't feel very responsible by the police officer. Okay. I don't want to show how the police officer is going to
I'm not part of the crowd. We're not going to group. Yeah.
I can use the strap that in one word. I can use the strap that in one word. You're not being disrespected. I said I don't feel disrespected. Okay. I don't want to expose the Patterson police officer. But I'm not going to show the Patterson police officer. So according to you guys,
The told the report the police station.
People can point at me.
Come the cars have if I go the police station. But the man people the call the one of my agents out.
I'm not going to no police station.
So the man said more going once I agree about going. I go for a party my how to put my sugar down. The man want to say no, the way so so she finds she want to outside research no don't get out. A big toy anywhere told you. Yeah. But we
Take the picture of that thing, let me post it.
I'm doing a video, man.
no, not for you, but I quite a cigar far we in the car. We in the car we're now. No, the police want to care now. So I thought 112, so that'll be the call in the Congo. I want to night, we're not part of it. We're not part of nothing.
With my lawyer, when a lawyer can work on there. Nonsense! Whole police don't talk around my car. That lawyer is talking a criminal. And do not take a picture of the team, man.
I forget it.
And a man who can't tell us any 102?
112.
112. That's somebody else said I need 112.
Yeah, police commander.
There is no sense, Gregory. I'm not doing anything with you.
I'm not
doing it. Hey, you're the fighting the security people here. No, I'm not getting in the ring. The police goes and walk over my car, Gregory.
The drug challenge. And I think all of us are disappointed with the way it's being handled. What you saw happen to Peachability. And I was saying to someone the other day, they need to release Peachability. You are buying your own marijuana, smoking it. When you're having such a huge consignment of cocaine, laying nobody knows where it came from, how it got here, how it was being shipped. There are some places in our country that the drug people have taken control. They bring their boats, they're drug by boats. Nobody can tell them what to do. So it's a real serious problem. There are communities where people know where the drugs are coming from, where they are being sold. The level where it is now, this thing has gotten somehow out of control, and we're having real serious issues. So I think the issues of drugs is an Achilles heel for this government.
for us, we don't want to say much because we have our legislators, we have our lawyers, and have already filed pursuing this case. So we want to be mute a little bit and listen to what the outcome. But I think the people are anxious to know, because if the country will move forward, it's through our democratic means and no other means. So all of those scare tactics, going on my private property and trying to intimidate children, all these are all scare tactics. But I know that we demand is a transparent and a free and a fair and a democratic process.
We will exploit every constitutional provision and democratic means to halt this madness. Again, we want to say thank you to the media. We want to say thank you to our international friends. We want to say thank you to collaborating political parties. We want to say thank you to the leaders of the CDC who are here today. Enough is enough. Fire for.
First of all, I've asked a question on this show and I'm yet to get an answer.
What is question, man?
Boycott, give me a synopsis of Joseph Boycott economic plan. Just a synopsis. I said the whole plan. Just a synopsis. Don't tell me that it's agriculture. Don't tell me I will create job with agriculture. I need a synopsis of an economic plan, and please don't say arrest either. Don't say arrest. I need a synopsis of an economic plan
so Ben,
how Joseph Boycott will create jobs.
Okay, in 3 minutes.
Hold on. Let me talk.
Give 3 minutes. Go ahead.
No, he asked a question. Let me answer. Remember, I just come here to show you. Let me talk to. Stop.
Go ahead.
There's a 100-page document on that, Ben. There's a 100-page document on that.
Jackie, wait, let me talk.
Who that Jackie getting documents? She don't know what they're getting documents.
Listen, the synopsis of an economic plan.
Yeah.
We have said time and again that to implement economic and bring about economic growth and development, there's no standalone. You have to implement plans that are interwoven and intertwined. We've said time and again, the first thing that we would do to stimulate the economy in Liberia is to restore integrity. No matter how good your plan you work, even you draw, if you do not restore integrity in our government functions and our systems, you will never have economic growth. You will never be able to attract enterprise funding and direct foreign direct investment. It will just be a joke. Because let me tell you something. All these Western countries are oversaturated with investment. The people are looking for new markets and new places to carry their money. And what they'll look for, the key indicators that will attract foreign investment are the people ready to do business? And that's the first thing we are going to do, is to make Liberia ready to do business. When you tackle that, when you restore and you bring about accountability, probity, you bring about seriousness in how government, integrity in how government operates, then you can now start to implement plans and policies that will spur economic growth.
So what is that plan and policy you will implement? That's the question I asked you.
But the first thing about it is this.
I agree. You will set the place to be attractive. Give me the plan.
The first thing we're going to do is to ensure that we recapitalize or we create a new agri bank. Because let me say this to you, extractive industries are not the way forward. Any other thing, what it attracts funding into a country.
George, I swear to God, I will call you off. That Charles Bromsky plan you're talking me. Listen, don't try it. Do not try it. That's the Liberty Party plan that you split. You cannot do that to Joseph. That is our plan of 2017. We can do agriculture bank. Listen. That is our plan in 2017, George.
Liberty Party plan.
You for giving our intellectual property. Shame on you for giving our intellectual property.
But I think it's common sense to imply, if you are going to defeat George Weah, the only, or perhaps the few opposition candidates that can do that and make an effective argument with regards to change, it's not Joseph Boycott. I will go with CPP, Alice Cummings. He stands a better chance to making that argument that the Joseph CDC had 6 years and they failed to deliver on key promises made to the people. They failed to fight corruption. They failed to do this. They failed to create a private sector job growth. They failed to do blah, 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 blah. The Unity Party cannot make that argument effectively. You can't argue that George Weah is corrupt when massive corruption occurred for 12 years under your watch, and you did not take serious actions about that. You can't argue that CDC did not build a curable health sector when for 12 years, even when millions of dollars came to during the Ebola crisis, the health sector was not built. You can't argue that CDC did not transform the education sector when you were outsourcing education in our country for a few years. Even when billions of dollars came to do that. You can argue that you are the change candidate when you had 12 years and squander opportunities as according to your VP. You cannot make these arguments effectively. Dr. Montebar can argue otherwise, right? CPP can argue otherwise. Congress can argue otherwise. These folks have not been in government and tested like the way Joseph Boycott and Unity Party have.
It's also possible that CDC could win again. That's incumbent. That's incumbent.
I mean, I don't know where all
and whether we like it or not, CDC still has a strong base. Liberians are disenchanted, yes. But that's the ruling party. It's also possible that you may win. So when you win, we must say the elections was rigged too.
Thank you. Thank you.
CDC should say the elections was rigged too.
And say we will not turn over power to
they should put people in the streets and say there will be Arab Spring because you won. What nonsense is this?
Mariah, can I send you
Who are you?
Can I send you a whole crick of cold beer, man, tonight?
Let's start.
Let's start. Okay. Damn it. You firing.
We started business school, not ever.
Speak. I will use my time to you speak.
No, continue, please. People,
I will use my time to you.
We're mesmerized.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is it's egregious. It is devious. It's not just ridiculous, but it is evil that a country that has suffered so much, you claim Liberians are suffering and you want to rescue them. But if you don't, then you put them back in the worst position.
Wow.
So if you can rescue them, then you must take them back to war.
Yeah.
So what do you want to rescue really? Yourselves? Your pockets? Because it cannot be about the Liberian people. It just cannot be.
Thank you.
I did not stutter. If Joseph Boycott and George Weah face off in a runoff, I will vote for George Weah 500 times again. I do not.
Even with all the issues you raise. Even with all the issues you raise.
Even with all the issues.
Understandable.
Because I do not believe Joseph Boycott has what it takes to.
This is what I'm saying. Understandable.
But anyway, understandable. Understandable.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I understand.
And here goes another clip, a soundbite that you pick a cut. I give it to you. Y'all go cut.
Let me say this though. Look,
I beg and I ask you a question to that. If you feel the same way, why not just sit out? Why you gotta vote?
No, I can never sit out.
So now you see, so Ben is a supporter of George Weah.
The most important job, the most important office in a democracy is the office of citizenship.
But then
part of the responsibility of that office is to vote.
So
Ben currently support President Weah.
In the
Ben currently support President Weah. You said that.
You're not talking about the people rally. You're not talking about the people rally. I am a member of the CPP.
Yeah,
so
in the first place,
but you support President Weah.
In the first place, we all know that Unity Party is.
But let me come in for a second.
Go ahead, Robert.
I think Roland is doing what Roland should be doing.
Exactly.
It's a Unity Party partisan.
If you want to make that argument, all right, then I will ask you the simple question. You know the reason why very often when people apply for job, they request references? I'm asking you today, can Honorable Boycott use his previous employer, his boss, as a reference today? Ellen, can
he recommend boycott to the Liberian people? Like Obama recommended Joe Biden?
Let me say this, George. Let me say this. Look, going forward.
Oh, you shifting the goalpost again. You left the first place. You came into the other one.
Well, I gave it. I mean, again, here you running around.
No, let's go back to the first argument you made that he's too old.
Well, I never said
Nigeria just elected black people.
You never said that.
No, why? Now, why?
I did not say that. I did.
That's what people Nigeria elected Tinubu so when he left.
Our choice. You
can compare Liberia with Nigeria.
George.
Can you compare Liberia with Nigeria?
We cannot.
Of course. Why you mean I can't compare that?
Are you serious, George?
George, let me land, bro. Let me land.
Now see why Labour Party got rid of him.
This is why. This is why we have to be patriotic.
That man belong to no party. You just
That man is a fortified ANC party.
Okay, guys.
And so is George.
A few more minutes. Let me show this out. The president appointed.
Disappointment. Now the vice president often tell me since he got a seat as vice president, how many persons have I recommended in this government to serve in the government as presidential appointee? 0. Every appointment in Nema County was done by him. He and I would discuss something as a brother to implement it. You will bypass me and do different things. I better keep it. I don't talk on it.
Now you need to see us. The thing we saw, it frustrates us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government makes you lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask.
The good person in our whole United Party, that President Bouaka. You want to say that again? The only person that appreciate good among all the United Party for that President Bouaka. The rest are ungrateful. The right, they use you and dumb you. But President Bouaka, if all of them were thinking the President Bouaka and behaving the President Bouaka, United Party will have another chance in 2029. Just for now, they do not regard people that help them.
Three of our soldiers were executed on this party ground. 2 at the back and 1 right at the headquarters. The man who shot and killed our people today is a darling boy in the Liberian National Police. They brought him back to shoot more guns.
And so welcome to the closing argument. And today is Friday, the weekend edition of the program, and we are here for a short time. Freedom FM 87.9 will be here until 10 o'clock. But hopefully, Truth FM will continue the broadcast and other sisterly radio stations that are simulcasting or will continue the broadcast. As I will be leaving Quincy T, the veteran and legendary comedian, on your platform, Freedom FM 87.9. So welcome. And today, as we are expecting our platform panelists, we will begin the show with congratulating all of our followers. We want to say keep following us. This is the closing argument. We appreciate your support. Keep watching, keep following, keep listening. Whatever means you are using to get us, we appreciate a lot. And so, again, Liberia is in the news again. In the news, Liberia is in the news with the situation regarding the former vice president, Madam Joel Otillo, and other national issues to be discussed. Well, basically, I will take a short break and be right back as I prep up to roll out our talking points for you tonight. So I will take a short break, like I said, and get prep or short break, a few seconds.
The court of the courthouse on that day. What the day they take on the court, the President Boyka believe that a CDC headquarters you move into, or you are the or you move in to go arrest Fanatikofa, you make a mistake. He himself would not sit down rehab. I can tell you that for sure. He himself would never sit down rehab. I've been playing with you, Jesus. I'm telling you what I know you do. Boyka, I want you to look in my face. This is a Carlos Gray of 2005 and 2011. When I spoke of Liberia and we now with a bike, I voluntarily decided that we will lead and help this PR arm of the CDC. Not only that, the militant brigade of the CDC, like Unity Party formed a militant brigade during the 2023 election. That militant brigade and battle cry men will reactivating everything, will stand up for our rights. This will be the last of it. I take full responsibility for any application.
Police are just moved in.
What police? Judas, the police. No, let me just tell you this. Judas, do you think the police want to take care of the entire Monrovia? In every quarter of Monrovia, do you know the number of police? Do you know the number of police in Liberia? Judas, we shouldn't reach that level, but I can guarantee you.
Tabedam, this is your code. Take possession of it. As the representative said, we want to see you collaborating and cooperating and making sure that you make use of the court. Respect the judges. When you receive a paper from the court, don't say like challenge it. Come to the court and tell the court this is my reason. Don't refuse. People have a habit of branding government property down. This, I hope, will not happen here. Anybody attempting to brand court or police station while I'm teaching, we are not going to establish a new player for you. But I can tell you that you will not come back to your people on their leave. We will make sure. Confusion is everywhere. Every society, government, got good and bad people. There are a lot of good people in the country, but there are a lot of bad ones too. Prophet Key is an example. They are spoiling the good name of Nima people, they are spoiling the good name of people from Sabata district. In our society, nobody abuses women court. If you do it in the town and you are a man, the man discipline you. If you do it as a woman, the woman discipline you. But unfortunately, we have one child from a mother who decided to live with abusing women. Today, we like you, you will remain there until otherwise the time is completed. Then last week, his parents, people from the town came to me and gave me cola and white chicken. They say when somebody abuses an old lady, you are mine. 90 plus years.
And so, yes, we are back, and we are back prepped up with our talking points here tonight. As you may be aware, President Boyka presses or rain presses on the police chief, Mr. Gregory Como, and giving him tap on the back for fighting drug in Liberia, which will be looked at keenly and dig deep into. And Madam Joel is still in the news, is still concerning. And the situation with the NPA managing director that has to do with his involvement with the Brooklyn Park home let's say, old folks home scandal. And the LMP is in the news because the lawyer of Mr. Amara Kone, Senator Amara Kone, had given 48 hours to the police RG to retract, let's say, the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information. You know, the cases in Liberia are just plenty, so we just compounded. So I just got confused just now. So the Deputy Minister for Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information is being given 48 hours by the lawyer of Senator Amara Kone to retract statements made against the senator, that the senator was involved with rigging the 2017 elections in favor of the CDC headed by former President George Weah. So all of these, the drug cartel is still around. The drug cartel is still being discussed. And Liberians are concerned. In fact, the Independent Commission on Human Rights had accused the police of blocking access to the former vice president, who is hospitalized, at least to receive some important people that could help, that could help her psychosomatically to recuperate. Unfortunately, the government through the police they are blocking access to the former vice president. It's concerning, and that will be looked into tonight because we think as a people we need to follow the rule of law. Yes, we all agree. We all want to see justice being done. If Madam former vice president is involved with anything, the law is the law. We are not against the law. So there's a need that we treat her with dignity. There's a need that we treat her with dignity. Doing that will help us as a country in terms of uniting and bringing this country under one love and one understanding. Honestly, what the independent, the RNCHR is raising, the Independent National Commission on Human Rights raising, is concerning because these are people who are supposed to be above the waters when it comes to these engagements. If you will not want the politicians to go there trying to probably subvert whatever political maneuvering that could cause or implication it could entail, we could agree. And since the situation is tense now, well, not those institutions that are supposed to be providing guardians and providing what I would call watchman position for every citizen life to be safe, for every citizen to be given dignity. Whether you are accused of a crime, you are proven innocent until a court of competent jurisdiction renders you guilty of whatever charge or crime you've been accused of. So at this point, I think the government now is, in my mind, trying to go above the level it should stop to. There are other people who are being accused, who are being linked, pieces of evidence coming out, linking people. Some of them are still walking scot-free. Some of them have not even appeared before court. Some of them have appeared before court, even though the drug law provides for no bailing, for there to be no bond service for any individual so accused. Unfortunately, some individuals who were initially arrested and charged. In fact, sent to the central prison, waiting the final verdict from the investigation, or the final or the findings from the investigation. Some of them surreptitiously and nicodemously disappeared from the country. Up to now, to no avail. The government cannot give a play-by-play description as to what happened. So all of these things, we want to suggest to some of us that bias is trying to interplay, which we discourage. We strongly discourage that on this platform. The closing argument here on Freedom FM 87.9. We call on the government to treat everyone with egalitarianism, and it is going to be a good thing for the government herself, meaning everyone should be treated equally and with all due respect. So I'm calling on the government again this evening on the closing argument here on Freedom FM 87.9 to do the needful. They think we are not fighting war. Even armed robbers are not supposed to be tortured. We all know that. We should not be psychologically torturing people who we know they are prominent Liberians. They've made indelible mark on the progress of this country. We have to do them due diligence by according them the necessary respect, but not to commit these kinds of sacrilege against the ancestor of our country that allow these people to grow and become our leaders. We need to be meticulous. All of us, we want to reach at old age. How do we reach there? Those who are there, we need to take care of them. We need to respect them. We need to provide for them. We need to make sure we do everything to make them happy. That way, when our time comes, then God himself will replicate what we did yesterday to those who were already at old ages. So I'm calling on the government again. We need to we need to focus the rule of law. We need to focus the law and start forgetting what the CDC, Unity Party, ANC, CMC politics. This drug issue is a national concern. Nothing for any other to do politics. You're doing politics on the. How does it benefit you? Nobody benefits from politicizing this drug situation. No one benefits. No one benefits, because at the end of the day, it will end up politically, and the political haulings and pullings, noise will just be on. Then we don't get a clue on the whole drug business, and the cartel and cabal will still keep grounded and running here and doing what they've been doing and usually did. So there's a need that we have some sober reflection to move this place forward. Coming to the coming to the president presses the president presses on the president presses on IG Gregory Kumo. I want to say the president is, with all due respect, being dishonest to Liberian on this one. I want to say it as it is. The president is being dishonest to Liberians, with all due respect for the office of president. And Mr. President, we are discussing Liberia. We are not discussing your feeling. We are not discussing your interest. We are not discussing your protection. Because if you are not protected, and everybody not protected, the whole place will be outside down, and you still not get protection, Mr. President. So we are discussing the entirety of this country. We are discussing the whole of Liberia. The player Liberia style to play in. So, Mr. President, we are not talking about your satisfaction. I hope you are reminded that Article 1 that gave the citizens right to vote was what allowed you to become president, was what allowed you that privilege to become president. So, Mr. President, yes, at times, based on constitutional provisions, you use your discretion on matters of national concern. For this one, Mr. President, I think you are wrong. With all due respect, and in my mind, you are being dishonest to Liberians, because the case cannot be ongoing, or the case cannot be investigated while all of the T's are not dotted, the R's, let's say the T's are not crossed, the R's are not dotted. You people bringing drug without some people even appearing before court. I know which evidence you're going to use now to the court. At the end of the day, we're hearing names. When we hear the name of people who are at the top there in government, Mr. President, nobody speaks to that. Nobody speaks on that. When it comes to people who are perceived as political opponents, then the government, through the police, heavy-handedly go after those people. The police director, the president, is pressing. Recordings have come up from the cartel members. That monies were given. So all those things, they will have to give us a clue. Because when we are saying these things, like other senators, other lawmakers, and senior government officials, other prominent Liberians are also saying and asserting, they've been picked up by the day. They've been summoned. Letters are being sent to them. So I don't know as to whether we are in, a police state. So I'm confused. Because we need answer. I'm sure the police director understands that Liberians need answer. And Liberians will get the answers through us behind these microphones. So there's no need for these intimidating tactics. They won't work. They are just momentary. They won't work. Others may break down. We lost power. We're still moving. Life still goes on. So you can't intimidate everyone. You can't be going after everybody. So you want to arrest everyone in the country? And Mr. President, I want to humbly recommend to you, with this, your IG Gregory Cuomo protectionism. I hope you are reading between the lines, Mr. President. I hope you are doing the right thing, Mr. President, which I encourage you to do in the interest of our country. Because, Mr. President, if it turns up to be what Liberians are all yearning for you to take action on, and it turns out to be that you've been deliberately, knowingly ignoring taking action where necessary, Mr. President, that will be a doom for your legacy. Honestly. So, Mr. President, don't see Gregory Cuomo alone. Don't see Junkies Morris alone. Neither should you see Anthony Dan alone, Mr. President. See Liberia, like you said, think Liberia, love Liberia, and build Liberia. See Liberia and see Liberians. This is a community of diverse backgrounds of individuals with different ideas, different cultures. different agendas. But we are a one country. We are a nation. We need to sync. We need to synchronize all of those different ideas, culture, and traditions, and blend them into one as a nation that we have a pride in, instead of going after one another. The police RG, allegations against the police RG is being ignored, is concerning. So I will also want you, Mr. President, to speak in that direction, other than raining praises on the RG of the LMP, who in fact we are still not understanding what's going on, because people have named now. And I think we also got to be careful, because the Minister of Justice, just for the sake of the public, the Minister of Justice issued a press statement, and he was threatening how we gave information and referring to information that we gave him that are also authenticated from their side, describing those information, those pieces of information as insinuation. People insinuating will not be allowed. People intimidating. I don't know how journalists or citizens will intimidate the police. I don't know. So we do not have to threaten people so that they become afraid and they don't report what's unfolding in the country. All we need to do is to do the right thing. Then we'll have a safe, peaceful, stable, prosperous, developed, civilized, balanced society. But if we want to do it the Koyokaya way and just feel that the country is there for Junkie Murray and Anthony die alone, and nobody is supposed to have the same rights and privileges as Junkies Morris and Anthony Down have, then it's unfortunate. Then in my mind, it's a recipe for targeting and witch hunting. Then in my mind, it provides a conveyor belt to conflict, to uprising. These are facts. History have proven that these are facts. Right here in Liberia, we do not have to go to Cuba or Argentina to think of Che Guevara. No. We don't have to do that. We got the evidence here based on history. So why can't we learn from the past and do it right this time? But today, since most of our panelists are now on a Friday program, I know you're American and some body and body. Man, Anthony, what's going on? We need to take few calls because I'll soon be leaving. We need to take few calls, and that what people have their say on what's going on. Especially this is the weekend edition of the program. This is the weekend edition of the program. The closing argument here on Freedom FM 87.9. Welcome. Keep following. Keep listening. You can share our live stream here on the closing argument. Freedom Radio, Freedom Online Radio, and other platforms that are carrying us. So Dr. Peabody is on. Since I will soon be leaving, let me quickly drop it back to Dr. Peabody. Dr. Peabody, I think you were following. We laid the premise.
Good to see you, Junkie. It's always good to see you. The other guys may join us soon, but it's good to see you, my friend. What a good Friday. It's been very, very challenging, very disheartening to hear about the First Lady health condition. It's been very, very, very sad. I don't know what the investigation entails. I don't know what is going on, but what I can say is the decency of a former First Lady, former Vice President, and a former Senator was not shown here. I think for her role that she played in this country and for service to our country. Again, I'm not trying to get into the investigation, but I think it was very sad for the manner in which the former Vice President was treated. They could have put her on a house arrest while the investigation go on, but they took her to a police station, intentionally kept her there until she got sick. This lady's not too well, and I don't think any decency, any respect was given to the former Vice President. And this is something that will go forever. And what I will say as Liberians, I applaud the government effort to fight drugs. I don't think Liberia can handle drug any longer. Liberia cannot handle the cartel. I applaud the effort. If the First Lady was involved, let her have a day in court. But the manner in which she was treated and the way they berated her and already characterizing her as a convict, I think this was wrong. Government should have at least showed some courtesy to the former Vice President, the former First Lady, and the former Senator. Even if you had kept her on a house arrest, it would have made some sense.
Sure.
I don't think this is fine in other countries. Right in here in our own country, we had a leader here who was convicted of several felony charges, and he was accorded the highest respect, even as the trial went on. He was accorded the highest respect. I don't know what they're trying to prove. Is this something that when the next government comes to power and found out that somebody in the next leadership did something, do you expect them to arrest the president and treat him like that, or any former leaders like that? I think the government erred on that part. They should have treated the former Vice President with at least the decency. He says it is alleged that these charges, but you could have still treat her with decency, being the First Lady, the former Vice President, Senator of Liberia. You could have treated her with some decency. And this was not exhibited yesterday. It was all intent for disgracing her. It was all intended to prove a point. When some of the parties involved have not been arrested, they are parading around. Some have even left the country. You want to prove a point and say you're arresting former president. Look, let me say this. Corruption, drugs is bad. Most of our people have been affected by this. I don't know what level of involvement was the former Vice President, but for the lady I know, maybe she have come in contact with people and people who have asked for help. The current Vice President of Liberia was listed, was named, and some of his leaders went and took photos and put it up with other people that he had met. He said he never knew these people. Former Vice President Joe Howard knew a lot of people. She took pictures of a lot of people. People invited her and thinking that it could help her. President Boakai met with Stanton on many occasions. I was part of that delegation that we went up to meet President Barker, and Stanton took gift and gave it to President Barker. I was part of that team. We went there. Where we met. Okay. Did he know that Stanton would have gotten in trouble or something he was doing? But they met. He exchanged. He got gift. He got assistance on many occasions. You know, Stanton gave a lot of assistance to the Unity Party and to President Barker. He gave them a lot of help. Monetary gift at a very high amount. He gave them. There were times, I remember we all, when I was on Spoon, we went along and met them. I don't know whether I still have my shirt. I have a shirt that Vice President Barker gave me. I don't know where that shirt may be, maybe somewhere around here in my basement. And we all met. It was Tony and George. We all went that day and met them. For the level in which, so everybody some way if I associated with somebody who involved in some trouble and things like that. But for you to charge this lady and say because of a phone call you had a telephone wire up and all of that, you know, I mean, I don't want to go against the police investigation, but I think there should have been some level of decency for the former vice president, some level of respect for the former first lady, some level of decency for the former senator. And I don't think she was treated the way that she ought to be treated. Knowing her being a high-profile person, she could have been put on a house arrest. You could have even let her travel and come back. That's her country. She was not going to run away. She can't hide from you. But to see her go through that, and yes, in a very severe, having severe health condition, I think it's very bad. It's very, very bad. And I think calling on the president and everybody to call to caution and at least exhibit some level of humility to the vice president. I wish her all the best, and I wish the government Liberia all the best in the investigation as they fight this corruption. I hope that they'll be transparent in bringing some of the people out. You know, one of the guys that was named in the truck was with Vice President Jeremiah Cohn. He visited his home on many occasions. There was several picture display of them. So will you investigate the vice president too? So, you know, will you investigate him? Because one of the guys was involved. They had several times and several photos and several places that they met. So it's really sad for our country, honestly. But I also support the fight on drugs. I support it 100%. But at least for people who have served our country and who knows her, I think it should have been treated with caution. John King, good to see you. How you doing, man?
Yeah, by God's grace, I'm got it. By God's grace, I'm got it. So, Dr. Peabody, what is your position? Because the town now is heated. The town is hot in a Liberian way. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. Since the former president, political leader of the CDC, Dr. George M. Weah spoke and referring to the Barker's administration as a tyrannical regime. What's your position? Because the streets corner here, marketplaces, Palava Horse conversations are surrounding this.
Yeah, I see people with different views, people with different opinion, but the former president, George Weah, has really exhibited a lot of calm, a lot of caution. If you know President Weah, he's not a violent person. He's not somebody who's going to, has remained quiet for a while. But we have seen how a lot of people, even his own wife, they have come to involve his own wife and bringing a case against her and stuff like that. The Clark Weah Foundation, I remember they wanted to know, they needed a financial statement for Clark Weah, the accounting stuff and all of that for Clark Weah. And I just think that, you know, I support this government fighting corruption, but sometimes the way you do it, it's not going after evidence, because we saw in the Samuel Toy case, he won the case. If this government was serious and transparent, they would let the case go. But what they did, they brought back a jury that say they were tampered with. They went back in there and tried to open a new case, wasting government resources. The money that you're spending to go and open a new case, that could help somebody in the hospital. That could help somebody at JFK. Create jobs for some people. So, I mean, President Weah has all right. I mean, I understand what he's coming from. That's his former vice president. If you can go that close, you started out with his special assistant, Ms. Fina Bono, chief of protocol. Now you're going to his vice president. Who knows? President Weah could probably be the next victim. Could be the next person they come up with and accuse. Since this president took over, he have not had the guts as the father of the nation to say, hey, I want to meet my President Weah. Let bygone be bygone. Let make amends. He has not done it. You have advisors like Kofi Woods who claim that they were some of the biggest human rights advocates a couple of years ago. They are the one advisor to the president. What are they advising the president at this time? You call yourself human rights advocate Kofi Woods. He sat there. This lady the former vice president was being berated in Monrovia as a criminal, as a drug dealer, and all of that. And you don't even have the decency to say, hey, let's help this lady, let's put her on a house arrest and deal with her. So we see a lot of things going on in our country, and President Weah was actually right to say these things, because President Weah is frustrated with the manner in which the former vice president was treated. If you could treat the former vice president like that, you can also treat the former president like that. I think this is something that Liberians will not forget. Liberians, time will come. Nobody served in government for the rest of their life. Nobody served in government. Government come and government go. But this is a precedent that has been set. So the next time you have a president that is involved in trouble, then there should be no you should not spare the law. The law will be used to the fullest. So
okay. So Dai, on Fridays.
Yeah, you guys leave early. Yeah.
So I will see you guys on Monday. Have a good time.
Chunky, take care. I'll call you. I've been promising to call you, but I've been really busy. I haven't forgotten. I'll call you. I promise.
Okay, then. Okay, then. Good night.
Take care. Have a good weekend, my friend. Be safe out there.
Okay, then.
All right.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a closing argument here on Freedom FM 87.9.
So, guys, here you go. Yeah, we have it. It's a lot of things happening in our country. A lot of news that report that the former First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, the former Vice President, Dr. Chief Joel Howard Taylor, was today rushed to the hospital. And according to the police chief, the doctor have asked for a couple of days for her to go through her treatment. So we want to keep the First Lady in our prayers and our thoughts and our best wishes. But again, I applaud the government on the effort to fight drugs. But equally so, I think the First Lady should have been treated with decency, even being put on house arrest while the investigation go on. I think it would have been something very good to do. If you're watching the show and you want to call, I'll be glad to take some call. I'm going to pin a number that you can call, and let's talk about this drug issue in Liberia. Let's talk about the drug issue and how we can deal with the government is doing it, whether they're being transparent or not on this corruption issue. Really hope you call. I'd like to hear your opinion on this so that we can talk about it. But as you are aware, my brothers, as you are aware, fellow Liberians, former President Joel Howard Taylor says she has been told she is on arrest, according to a message sent to her on Wednesday. This is what she said. They have They have just said I'm on arrest. Taylor said in the message. This claim has not yet been independently confirmed by police, but yesterday we saw that the former vice president was arrested and she was charged. There was a list of charges leveled against the former first lady, the former vice president, and the former senator of Bond County. So, guys, there is a WhatsApp number on the screen if you want to call it. Let's talk about the corruption in Liberia. Also, the president today, there was a book launching at the executive mansion from the title of the book. What was it? From Foya to Monrovia. Very interesting. I'm looking forward to read that book and see what happened. But I want to say that what's unfolding, the drug issue, and also there are Liberians who there today. I understand the first batch deportees from the U.S. returning to Liberia. About 20 of them returning to Liberia. I can imagine you are not from a country and you get deported to another country, to a country that you are not from. It's not your original home. Can imagine how difficult it will be. Some of those people are criminals, according to the government, and some of them are they broke our immigration law, and because of that, they were deported to Liberia. Liberia is one of the few countries in West Africa that is receiving refugees or deportees from the United States of America. Call me. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what is happening in our country. Let's talk about the situation of Liberia. So the issue of drugs is sticking the headline everywhere in Liberia. The issue of drugs is being is taking place. So let's read some article from the from Liberia, on the front page of Africa. I'm still trying to get it, but there was an issue from Nigeria today that I would like to play. Some issue from Nigeria. I would like to play this. The Nigerian press. They talk about the issue, and I understand Al Jazeera talk about this as well. Got the number is over there, 678-438-3003. If you want to call, you can call that number, and we will talk about it. Share your views on what happened in Liberia with the arrest of the former vice president of the Republic of Liberia. With the former vice president of the Republic of Liberia. So we'll be playing that and see what happened. Let's see here. This is the BBC News.
Welcome to the program. Many thanks for joining us. You're just in time for another edition of Focus on Africa.
So we sorry about that. I want to play a video from Nigeria. Okay, this is it. You can join me. Let's listen to this.
Liberia, it has agreed to accept up to 1,200 deportees from the United States. None of those people are actually from Liberia. They are from other African countries, from the Americas, from the Caribbean, and they are being deported to Liberia, where it is believed that they have said that these people will have the opportunity to apply for asylum within Liberia, or indeed move move on to other countries. Liberia have also made clear that this is not a quid pro quo situation with the United States. Donald Trump, as we know, has been dumping many third-party deportees on the African continent, and Liberia is now the latest list of countries on the African continent to accept with welcome arms these deportees coming into their country. We have heard from their Minister of Information who shed a bit more light on this subject. Let's take a listen to what he...
Need to ship a car but don't know where to start? On UShip, carriers bid to transport your vehicle, so you get the
intends to accept up to 1,200 persons to be transferred from the United States of America within a year. The persons to be transferred to Liberia are third country nationals, some of whom may wish to seek asylum in Liberia. Honor the agreement or arrangement. Those to be transferred from the United States of America to Liberia will include citizens or nationals of African and Western Hemisphere countries who are medically authorized to travel.
So interesting times ahead where we're looking at Trump's relationship with the African continent, especially where third-party deportations are concerned. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Okay, I mean, Femi, I don't know, but what's the deal in it for Liberia? How much are they getting? Because
they said it's humanitarian.
No.
That's what they said.
Or is it because Trump said his English is very good? The president of Liberia's English is very good. There must be something they are getting. When the UK wanted to bring people to Rwanda, it was paid for, right?
They support projects and infrastructure.
It was paid for.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Nothing.
In other cases, it's going to be paid for. So Liberia, that is already a poor country, just wants to do it for free.
Yeah.
Is it because of the former American heritage they have?
Well, they're making it clear. It might not be for free, but they're saying that it's humanitarian. They've also made clear that there's no quid pro quo between the two of them.
There's nothing humanitarian about it. Are they Liberians there?
Where? None of the 1,200 are Liberians, but there are some Africans. And they have said that if they choose to stay in Liberia, they can do so.
People, see, Liberia did not choose that scientists should come to them. They didn't choose that intellectuals should come to them. It's criminals. And they say if they choose. Why is there always bad things Africa used to attract? At least we heard the war from Ghana. There were some of our West African brothers, and that's why they collected them and they dispersed them immediately back here. So you just choose to get the hardened of the hardened criminals, and you say they choose to stay here, and you're telling me that there's nothing involved. They should investigate too. They should. I don't think there's something.
All right, there is something. Okay, nothing goes for nothing. Al Jazeera reports that the US has committed 124 million. Health infrastructure in Liberia. They also negotiated a visa deal last year that rather than 12 months, they extended to 36 months. 36 months visa extension. There's something in it for Liberia. There's no country that is altruistic to the extent that you're taking back returnees. When your country itself has high unemployment rates, you have infrastructural challenges, your annual refugee intake as a country normally is about 1,169, not up to the 1,200 in one fell swoop from the United States. It's not humanitarian alone. And I do think, going back to Rufai's point, that it's quite unfortunate that deals like this are entered into by African countries like this for gain. What they couch it under is that, we're going to support the process, contributing money, to know that there'll be administrative costs into having these extra people in your country. It is money. The worst part of it Okay, let's assume that they weighed the options and this is a gain for the countries, that oftentimes the money is not even spent for what it's supposed to be used for. If you look at the history, there will be no transparency, corruption will erode the benefits, and the people themselves who would have to live with the reality of scarce resources even becoming more scarce because more people are going for those scarce resources will not even benefit directly from it. So it's, there are laws, there are suits, lawsuits in the United States and in Liberia against this. Liberia, in terms of legal part of it, signed to the UN Convention of Refugees. So there are certain criteria that they must meet to ensure that these refugees will be well looked after and that they have the capacity to look after them and give them dignity of life. Can Liberia meet that threshold? That is the big question. There's no African country that the people themselves have not protested this, but the leaders have taken the decision to take whatever it is that Washington is giving them in exchange for accepting these deportees.
You're right. They are getting something to even help them strengthen their migration system. However, the issues we have seen in other countries in Africa about human rights, nobody in Liberia has raised those issues. Maybe those issues will still come to the fore and more details will be provided. But we still congratulate or thank Nigeria for refusing to be a dumping ground for the United States. Nigeria was one country that stood for Africa.
Thank you so much. We're dealing with it, but we don't need any issues. Thank you. Thank you so much, Adefemi.
So, guys, there you have it. I think this was beautifully analyzed by the Irish News in Liberia. You know, what have the government made it clear that how much money will be giving, how these people coming to Liberia, how they're going to be supported, how they're going to be integrated in their culture, how they're going to eat. Are you going to provide them the food to eat? I mean, they probably may not be accustomed to the Liberian food. What kind of medical situation, medical condition is available for these people when they come to Liberia? If they get sick, how are they going to be dealt with? You know, so there's a lot of challenges. It's a lot going on, and I don't know what's the arrangement that was made, but it's quite a challenge because Liberia themselves is a challenged country. Very poor country, you know, unemployment at a very high level, Liberian themselves are suffering to make it day by day. And yet still you don't have 1,200 people coming in that culture. Who going to take care of them? You know, so I just hope there's a better deal work out, or those people are given the opportunity to go back to the country. But then again, as I said, Liberia may face also from human rights group, different human rights organization, things like that. Liberia could also be a face problem, especially with those people coming to Liberia. So I mean, that's just one of the things that we found out today. That some of the refugees or the deportees, none of them are Liberians. Most of them are from different countries, Africans, the Caribbean, and other places. So that's what we see, guys, on Liberia. One of the Front Page Africa did a tour in the citizen of Bombing County. I understand a lot of mixed feeling in Bombing County, especially on the Red South. Madam Joa Howard Tiller. It's our country, Liberia. You know, we applaud. The government must be transparent when it comes to fighting corruption. Those who have been charged, or those who have been, charged, should face the full weight of the law. But there should be no, there will be transparency, and that's all the Liberian people are calling for. They are calling for transparency in this whole saga. We support the government. We support the corruption fight. I think it's important, but it's the government of Liberia really transparent about it. There are other people who were named in this situation. The president's son was named in this. Did he ever? I mean, it was alleged, but did he ever go to the police station? Did he answer question? Was he invited to the police station to go and answer question?
When you talk to folks, they say, oh, well, he came out with a statement. He's not involved. He's not being investigated, all of that. But what prompted him to make his own statement? What prompted him to have a press conference and to say those things and to admit that somebody introduced him and somebody called him at 8 o'clock in the morning and all of that? So the problem here is that people are not. People have to be transparent, and I think the Liberian people want to see a fair trial. But yes, the former vice president of the Republic of Liberia, it's been pretty much paraded around Monrovia as the one who been charged in this saga. I'm out for investigation. I'm out for her having her day in court, but I also want them to treat her with that humility, that decency, that she's the former vice president of Liberia. Do you want anybody else, any former government official? This government is not going to be in power for the rest of their life. They're not. Government will come, government will go. Do you want them to treat former government officials, those who have served our country in many, many capacity? Do you want to treat her like this? Treat them like this? I think it's not fair. It's totally unacceptable that folks, our former vice president, would display. We call for free and fair trial, and I think it should be done in a very professional way. Let me see how what the different media are saying. Let's go to the Daily Observer. Daily Observer. I want to read Daily Observer Liberian News, what it's saying today. The Daily Observer said Joel Howard Taylor spent nights in hospital under police custody. And yes, they said the former vice president, Joel Howard Taylor, was rushed to Gomez Institute of Medical Science due to a medical emergency while in police custody. So she was rushed to the hospital, and at the hospital under police custody. Couldn't they have been done at her house too when you arrested her yesterday? That could have been done at her house. They said she was transferred. Taylor was transferred to the hospital on a heavy police escort. I mean, after reportedly experiencing an asthma attack and a significant rise in her blood pressure, of course, you sit somebody there. She's sitting there for hours. Definitely, you expect this to happen. Why being held at the police headquarters, Liberian National Police? Her hospitalization came as her expected appearance before the Monrovia City Court was postponed, adding another development to the case that attracted intense national attention following her arrest and in connection with Liberian ongoing investigation into the large alleged transnational drug trafficking. The government had formally charged Taylor with drug trafficking, money laundering, and other offenses linked to investigation into a major cocaine seizure. Justice Minister Anthony Oswald has emphasized that the charges remain allegations and that Taylor is presumed innocent until proven guilty. According to information gathered by the Daily Observer, medical personnel were called to the Liberian National Police after concern was raised about Taylor's condition. Her legal team said attempts were made to stabilize her at the police headquarters for several hours, but effort was unsuccessful, prompting authority to transport her to GMS. She was then heavily escorted, rushed here at the Gomez Institute of Medical Science, a hospital were informed she requested to be brought to. Taylor lawyers said in a statement, this is where she chose to have been brought and had trust and confidence in the hospital. The lawyer said Taylor was suffering from asthma attack, high blood pressure, and required further medical attention. The former vice president was subsequently admitted at GMS, where she remained under medical observation and police scrutiny. Police spokesman Sam Collins confirmed Taylor transfer to medical facility, but did not disclose the detail about her medical condition or indicate where she will be taken before court. Taylor's medical emergency came after her scheduled court appearance. Her legal team said the postponement was based on requests from her lawyer for additional time and gather and supported information. The lawyer said Montserrat County attorney asked them to issue public statement clarifying that additional 24-hour granted to Taylor was based on request of her legal team and was not a decision by government to prevent her from having her day in court. The legal team stated that Taylor was initially expected to remain at the police headquarters while her lawyer gathered additional information. However, her health condition subsequently changed. The circumstances required her transfer to the hospital. Taylor lawyers stressed that her admission to the hospital does not mean she has been released or that her arrest has been suspended. She is still in custody of the Republic of Liberia, lawyer said. They explained that the government remains responsible for Taylor's security and welfare for as long as she remains on arrest. According to the lawyers, while an arrested person may lose certain rights, including freedom of movement, fundamental human rights remain protected. One of such rights is the freedom of movement, but your fundamental human rights are still guaranteed, and one of such rights is the right of life, a right to live, they said. The legal team described Taylor's situation as constructive detention, explaining that although she is receiving treatment at a hospital rather than being held in police cell, she remains under the arrest of the police custody. Being here doesn't mean the arrest has been lifted or suspended. No, she's still on arrest. They explained that similar arrangement can apply when an arrested and incarcerated person requires medical treatment and detention. In such circumstances, the person may be transferred to a hospital and returned to detention facility. Taylor was visited at GMS by members of her family, as well as former Foreign Minister Maxwell Kimia. Members of the Bond County Legislative Caucus, including Representative Marvin Cole, Eugene Colette, also visited the former vice president. The lawmaker reportedly indicated that they intend to remain at the hospital overnight. Taylor's hospitalization has drawn further attention to the conditions surrounding her detention, particularly because she is a former vice president and prominent political figure. Her arrest followed her interception at the Rabat International Airport Wednesday, August 19, while she was preparing to travel to Ghana for a women's forum. She was subsequently taken to the LNP headquarters. The government later announced formal charges in her connection with ongoing and collateral controlled drug substance. Taylor legal team said the former vice president is facing a total of 8 charges arising from the investigation. The allegations include drug-related offense, money laundering. The lawyer also referenced allegations of criminal solicitation, and criminal conspiracy, as well as alleged violation relating to the unlicensed importation, transportation, distribution, dispensation of controlled drugs or substances. The government has stressed that the allegation do not amount to a finding of guilt. Justice Minister Twist specifically stated that Taylor, like all defendants, remain innocent. As of Thursday, Taylor lawyer said they were awaiting further information about her medical condition, including whether her blood pressure has stabilized and whether the reported asthma attack had been brought under control. Her continued hospitalization leaves the timing of the court appearing uncertain. The legal team said Taylor remained under government custody while treatment at the facility. The development adds to medical dimension to already political sensitive investigation that has generated widespread debate over drug trafficking, due process, and the right of person held by the state. For now, Taylor remains at GMS under the medical care of the police security, while her legal status unchanged despite transfer from the headquarters. The government has maintained that the charges against her are allegations of subject to judicial determination, while her lawyer continued to insist that her constitutional and fundamental rights must be protected throughout the investigation. and subsequent court proceeding. So that's why we're talking about the First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, First Lady, former First Lady, former Vice President Joel Howard Tiller. And we also have a statement that was sent here by President George Weah. I want to read that. It said the former president, George Manning Weah, had accused the President Joseph Nima Boakai administration of undermining Liberia democracy and using what he described as an extrajudicial power to target political opponents. Following the reported detention and travel restriction imposed on former Vice President Joel Howard Tiller, Weah, who is a political leader of the Congress of Democratic Change, made the allegation on Wednesday, August 19, in a statement in which he sharply criticized the government handling of the country's ongoing investigation into illicit drug trade. He said the latest development involving Tiller demonstrates what he described as a broader pattern of declining democratic governance under the Boakai administration. What we witnessed today has further revealed the extent of our democratic decline in the last few years, marked by continuous use of extrajudicial power by President Joseph Boakai to trample upon the constitutional rights of Liberians who hold opposing view, we have said. The former president described Tiller as the latest victim of what he called the administration's rising authoritarian tendency, warning that such tendency could have serious consequences for Liberia's peace and stability. As you know by now, former Vice President Joel Howard Tiller has become the latest victim of these rising authoritarian tendencies, which have historically plunged societies, including ours, into chaos, we have said. He said while his political establishment support legitimate effort to combat Liberia's drugs problem, he opposed what he characterized as attempts by the government to turn the crisis into a political weapon. While we support all legal and judicial effort to rid Liberia of the current drug epidemic, we condemn the attempt to use the crisis to score political point, he said. According to Weah, Tiller was prevented from traveling without prior notice and was subsequently harassed and detained. Today, without any prior notice, the former vice president was unlawfully prevented from traveling in violation of her constitutional right to free movement and was subsequently harassed and detained, he alleged. Weah said he had spoken directly with Tiller following the incident and that she had categorically rejected allegations being made against her by the government. I have since spoken to the former vice president, who has vehemently, strenuously, and categorically denied all political motivated allegations being made against her by the Boakai administration, he said. We also criticized the government's public explanation of the matter, particularly comment attributed to Justice Minister Oscar Twell, who reportedly announced the government position during a statement on Wednesday. In a government statement today, the Justice Minister read our blanket accusation without providing any explanation on how they were formulated, we have said. The former president linked the government action against Tiller to two major cocaine discoveries made in Liberia, which authorities have been investigating as part of the broader effort to combat the drug trafficking. We have said the seizure, which he describes as an amounting of nearly $500 million, occurred after his administration had peacefully transferred power to the Boakai government. This action by the government comes after two major drug cocaine discoveries amounting to nearly $500 million, which the officials themselves has admitted were brought into Liberia after we had peacefully handed power. Rather than focusing solely on establishing the facts surrounding cocaine shipment, we accuse the government of attempting to establish link between the alleged drug trafficking activities and officials or associate of former CDC-led incident. Rather than treating the investigation with a degree of diligence and urgency it deserved, the government has instead sought to fabricate and concoct connection to the CDC administration. We are alleged. He further accused the government of being lenient toward officials and security personnel who he claimed had been named or accused in connection with the drug investigation. He said the government was effectively giving a slap on the wrist to its own government security official, while some of those allegedly implicated still roam the street despite being named and accused of as true perpetrators. The allegation made by WIA represent a significant political escalation surrounding Liberian drug investigation. Although the former president did not provide evidence in his statement to substantiate his claim of political manipulation, wrongdoing by the government official, we also disclosed that he had members of his political camp have been engaged in regional continental leaders over what he had described as the deterioration of democracy and the rule of law. We have continued to engage with several regional and continental leaders to reiterate and underscore to them how the rule of law and democracy in Liberia is being systematically undermined and how grave a danger such action poses to our peace and security. The former president warned that what he described as the government increased use of authoritarian tactics could threaten Liberia's hard-earned peace. He pointed to the peaceful transfer of the political power from his administration to the Barca in January 2024 as evidence of the country's democratic process, arguing that the current administration must preserve the tradition. Despite peaceful demonstration of democratic transfer, President Barca seeks to rule as a tyrant, we declare. WIA, who has been outside Liberia, said he intends to return to the country and mobilize members of the CDC and other citizens who he described as well-meaning Liberians to challenge what he considered unconstitutional action by the government. He said any arrest will be pursued through political and legal channel guaranteed on the Liberian Constitution. Following my engagement, I shall return to Liberia to rally the CDC along with all well-meaning Liberians to resist this tyranny, attempt to trample upon our burgeoning democracy, using all political, legal means guarantee us under the Constitution, said. His statement marked a stronger public confrontation yet between the former president and the Barca administration or the government handling of the country's drug crisis and the treatment of political figures associated with the former ruling establishment. Wow, guys. This is what we see here. This is what happened in Liberia. President WIA has condemned the arrest and have accused President Barca of really going after oppositions who criticize him rather than dealing with the issue at hand. I want you to call us on the number listed 678-438-3003 and share your opinion. We will be here till 7 p.m. tonight. We'll be closing by 7 p.m. tonight. So if you have any question, if you have any concern, I want you to just put it here or call the number on the screen so we can discuss that. There's a lot happening in our country. We still have the Guinean soldiers at the Liberian border. They are even getting more comfortable. They are gaining more grounds and taking more places while we are sitting back and nothing being done. But again, let me make this clear. I support the Liberian government fight on drugs. Support that. But I want them to be very transparent in the dealing with the drug situation. You know, our government can be transparent on how we deal with this entire drug situation. We know how bad it has become. And the drug cartel now are using Liberia as a dumping ground and where they can use Liberia to transport drugs to other parts of Europe, which is bad. But I also calling the government to be very, very transparent how to deal with this, how to treat this drugs issue rather than just making a political show out of it. You know, we don't want a political show. We don't want these to be happening. We want the government to be transparent. Bring those who were brought to justice, those who were accused the police director talk about high-profile people being involved. Will he bring these people? Will some of these people be arrested? Will we see further arrests to that? So we want to see that. We want to see transparency in all that. In all that they do, we want to see transparency with this whole drugs and corruption issue. So it's very sad. It's another issue from the New York Times. Guys, I want to read this from the New York Times. This is from the New York Times. U.S. agreed to pay Liberia $5 million connection with deportees. This is what coming from the New York Times. I want to read this. Let me see what it's going to let me read this. So we'll see what happens. Okay. I understand the U.S. government is going to pay the Liberian government $5 million for the deportees. But what is going to happen? What is the $5 million for? What is it going to do? Is there a breakdown about the $5 million that the U.S. government is paying the Liberian government? What is the breakdown? About this? What is the money going? Is it going to take care of the deportees that are coming? Is it a compensation for Liberian government for them to receive deportees from the United States of America? So I want to know what is the $5 million for. But it is true, according to the New York Times, the U.S. government has agreed. They are paying the Liberian government $5 million to receive deportees from the United States. So we want to get to the bottom of this. We kind of digging deeper. Want to get U.S. send 20 deportees to Liberia. The Associated Press. This is the Associated Press. Habel, Liberia. The United States of Ontario State carried out its first deportation on an agreement to accept for Liberia to accept up to 1,200 people who are not from the African countries. One of the Trump administration's largest effort yet to deport people to countries other than their own. The 20 deportees arrived at the Robert International Airport. Deportees include African national as well as national from North America, South America, and Caribbean. In the Caribbean, according to the Liberian Information Minister Jeremiah Pierre, Liberia Justice Minister Oswald Twe has said that they could seek asylum in West African countries if they wish. The United States Department declined to answer questions about the Liberian agreement, but said the implementing of the Trump administration immigration policy was a top priority. It said it was unwavering in our commitment to end illegal and mass immigration and boost the American border security. So the U.S. Homeland Security Department declined to confirm Thursday deportation for operations and security and refer additional questions to the State Department. Third country agreements are often shrouded in secrecy. Migrants have been deported to countries they have never been to or where they face risks and left with little choices other than return home to their country. The Trump administration struck an agreement with at least 35 countries to deport people who are from other countries, including Liberia, 13 other African 13 in Africa, according to the Third Country Deportation Watch, a partnership of Refugee International, Human Rights First, the relays of the Popular Record request. News report and other sources, more than 23,000 people have been deported to 26 countries under the agreement. So Liberia is one of them, but according to New York Times, Liberia will receive $5 million for that deportees, $5 million. So I want to know what is going to happen to the $5 million of the ascending. back to Liberia. So, folks, this is a closing argument. We're going to be with you in the next 15 minutes, and then we will be going. Today, we have most of our panelists are out, so we're going to be with you in the next. Yeah, Liberia is set to receive $5 million from the United States as part of a controversial third country agreement. Under this deal, Liberia agreed to accept up to 1,200 national and from Latin America funds. The U.S. agreed to provide $5 million to help strengthen Liberia's migration management system. The deputy plans allow up to 12,000 non-Liberian nationals to be transferred over the year, with the first group of 20 migrants arriving at Rawa International Airport. Officials state that the arrival individual can choose to live in Liberia, to leave Liberia, or apply for a local asylum. What do you have in Liberia, man, for people to go there apply for asylum? You don't. Your own people don't even have food to eat. You don't have running water. You got nothing really there, and you are bringing in 1,200 people. Say that you can grant them asylum or do something to them. That is just ludicrous nonsense and stuff like that. We see Robert in the back. We'll bring Robert on. Robert, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Doc.
Good. How you doing, Robert? Good to see you.
I'm doing good, man. Everything is good. It's a Friday. Everyone must be chilling out, huh?
It seems like everybody gone. I'm the only one. If he had not come, I would have been gone myself in 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, we can do that because it's on a Friday. So I just thought to chime in real quick.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about the First Lady. As I said earlier, it's for me, I feel it's inhumane to have treated her, a woman, the former vice president, the former First Lady, a former senator, for a woman who has served Liberia. I think I didn't see the decency there of treating her. Even her house arrest would have been appropriate, but they chose not to do it because they wanted to berate her and treat her like somebody, like a criminal, and to prove a point. And that's I think it was bad. For me, it was bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It was unnecessary. Especially given the fact that there were no prior communication, with any intent to invite her over for questioning. She had no idea of that. And I'm sure had they communicated with her, she would have rearranged her travels. It was almost presented as though she attempted to flee justice, when in fact they had not invited her.
Yeah.
Yesterday we talked about the role she has played. She's a former First Lady, senior senator, deputy bank governor, and former vice president. None of this is to say that or suggest that she's above the law, but she's currently being protected by the EPS. The head of the EPS is part of the joint security apparatus in the country, and so I think that professionally, when they learned that she was on her way to the airport, they could have just called the EPS, whoever was in charge of her security, to listen, or call her directly. These guys have the phone numbers of all of these politicians in Liberia. Call her directly and say, listen, we know this is brand new, but there were plans to invite you over to answer some questions about this investigation. And we just heard that you are traveling out of the country. Unfortunately, Madam Vice President, you won't be allowed to travel out the country because we intend to invite you over for questioning. I don't think she would have objected to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or they could have her go to the airport, communicate with airport authorities and tell her, listen, you're not allowed to leave the airport. People do that all the time.
Yeah.
We cannot give your passport to you. She's in her own country. She'll go and get a lawyer and try to follow up on
they could have, like Robert said, they could have gotten a lawyer. They could have brought them in and just, go ahead, Robert.
So they could have done that. They could have done all kinds of different approach, but to barricade her convoy, she on the video she talked about the police getting into a fight with the EPS, trying to disarm her EPS securities and pointing guns at her vehicle. I mean, that is completely unnecessary, especially in a peaceful democracy. And so the way she has been treated, I don't think is fair. And I think this is part of the reason why people are looking at this as a political witch hunt. And I know the president is playing with words when he talked about only witches are being hunted. But again, we got to be careful how we treat each other. And because my fear is if CDC were to come back to power, where these people are in control of power, what would happen? What would be the narrative if they were to retaliate? That's my fear. That's what happened during the war. A lot of people who felt hurt and attacked and targeted by folks in power or position, those people were targeted during the war. If not them directly, their families were impacted. People got killed because of their last names and not because of what they did. But so we gotta be careful, man. But at the end of the day, if the fact shows that she's indeed is involved in this, if they can prove this in the court of law, we want everyone, regardless of their political or public status, to be held accountable for their action. But that there's certain ways to go about it, especially when she's not been charged, when she wasn't at the time was not a suspect. They were only calling her for question, and so it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. It is unfortunate. And now they had her sitting at the police station for hours, and then she finally was rushed to hospital and had to understand her pressure went extremely high, and she suffered from asthma, couldn't hardly breathe, and they had to take her to the hospital, and they're asking for additional days. The doctors are asking for additional days and things like that. They got heavy police present at the hospital and all of that and stuff like that. Like you said earlier, they have the EPS. EPS is higher than the police. That's in some level. They are the presidential guy. They protect the president, and other government officials. I mean, you have an EPS. You could have instructed the EPS, hey, bring this lady to the place. Let her know she's not going to leave the country. Why are you sending police with gun and pointing gun at her to do what? To prove what? I want the investigation to go on, but equally so, knowing Joel Howard Taylor, it doesn't appear to me that she's the kind of person who would do things like that. I made reference to President Boakai. I remember when I was on Spoon, when President Boakai came, we escorted Stanton to see President Boakai with a lot of money. I mean, I was right there, and Stanton took a lot of money. I had his bag when he took up a huge sum of money and took it upstairs to President Boakai in his where he was staying, somewhere going to Maryland after Delaware Assembly there. I was right there. In fact, President Boakai even gave Tillman George was there. Tillman George gave everyone. I mean, President Boakai gave us a T-shirt and an African shirt and a hat. I still have my
personally. He handed it over to you guys.
And, personally and stuff like that. We're saying Vice President Cone taking picture with some of those who have been allegedly accused of being arrested and to be involved in this situation. We see former Vice President Joel Howard Taylor were also with these people. I mean, so you can't just blanketly say that, she was involved. These people went to office. These people took picture. I mean, they say they have evidence. I'm looking forward. I don't want to get into it. But this is similar things that have happened. Stanton gave thousands of dollars to President Boakai. I'm telling you, 50, 60. At one point, the car that President Boakai rode in when he came to the U.S., all the fleet of cars that were rented, it was Stanton who did that. He paid for those things and stuff like that. Yep. And some of the reason I see his frustration with them now is because the contribution he made to them.
And not getting a dividend.
Not getting it back. But on the other side, President Boakai accepted money from this man. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. And this man got arrested for a crime. So should President Boakai be investigated to know what happened and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
You see, so the thing is, I don't know what level of proof they have against the vice president, but I just felt that she should have been treated with some form of dignity, as the former Mr. Nangwe, good to see you. As the
Good to
former,
see you too, Doc. Robert,
yeah,
good to see you guys.
Good to see you, Mr. Number.
as the former first president of the Republic of Liberia, I just thought she should have been treated with dignity. That's
Yeah. Yeah, but the other side, I think I just made a post about 10 minutes ago because I've been thinking about this, Dot, and this is just my MO. Like I kind of get really uncomfortable, when I'm amongst people. We've been to Liberia, and I've been in rooms where I've seen the individual involved. I've been in a lot of rooms where sometimes I get really uncomfortable because there are certain individuals that for a fact. A lot of folks that have close proximity to government officials. You look at the lifestyle that these guys are living, and you look at their working history, and you can't find any professional working history or a legit business that they've operated for
right.
10, 15 years.
Yep.
But yeah, these guys flying across Dubai, and at the time when old boy was in the U.S., Maryland, flying private jets, wearing all of these bling necklaces, and every time I'm in these spaces, I remember one time I got in my car, and I told my boss, I said, I gotta go. And a buddy of mine who was close, who I'm not gonna name, he said, "What's going on? Why are you leaving the party?" I said, "Listen, I gotta go somewhere else." Because if it feels good when you're there, these guys are not paying for your drinks. You don't want anything from them, but you're just in that space. And knowing
Yeah.
that during politics, people are taking pictures and conversations being held. And it's just not unique to that, Mr. Namwe. Just growing up as a young man in public space, it makes me uncomfortable when I'm in spaces with people that I know living a suspicious life. That something's gonna happen one day. You just can't put your hands on it, right? And so when you look at the former vice president, this is a very powerful woman. I'm baffled at the fact that she will have this person and her handlers will have this person, this characteristic, have this level of close proximity and easy access. It's one thing for people to reach out to you on social media. It's one thing, but for people to have your contact where they feel comfortable to have casual conversations, where for a woman in the space that she's in, I mean, there are national security concerns, right? They're classified information for her own protection. And to have this guy to just be free and comfortable enough to have a casual conversation with the vice president where she feels comfortable even speaking her Liberian, yes, or not in this diplomatic way that you would normally want to talk to people, but people that you're close. It scared me because they knew he could speak to her. This is not the first time. They knew he was in contact with her. They knew she would pick up his phone. That's the reason why they plinked to him. Even though I don't see much in the calls that in the exchanges that I've heard, but it just baffled me that this character will have this level of access to a woman of her caliber without any reservations whatsoever. No one is saying, Madam President, no. If this guy want to talk to you, he needs to come through me. He needs to come through me. I'm not even at the vice president level, Mr. Namwe. But when I'm in Liberia or even in the U.S., I don't just talk to everybody. When I'm in Liberia, if you want to talk to me, talk to these people. And for a woman like that, I'm like, the people around you can make or break you. And when you have people around you that are not telling you and saying, Mr. Doc, I don't think this is right. Don't you think you need to reassess this? I think we need to take a look at this because I don't think this guy should have business conversations, fine. Presidential conversations, fine. But personal, in your personal space, it just baffled me that he had this much access to her.
Mr. Donwick?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Doc, and Robert. I'm sorry, I actually missed, what you guys said. I'm coming from a local, from a funeral of one of my fraternal sisters, passed away. So I didn't listen, but I just come in based on what I'm hearing. Look, there are two things here I have to say. One, I totally disagree with the way, the form and manner in which the vice president was brought in. All right. This is not about Joel Taylor. It's the same argument we made here with Konati Kofa. This is not about the individual. But in our society, when you rise to a certain stature, there are certain courtesies that are due you. As if it were President Boakai or Vice President Kun, I would say the same thing I'm saying. I believe there's a certain amount of courtesy that they should have accorded this lady. I had the same problem with the way Musu Scott was taken in during the murder trial. Took her, dump her in the pickup, truck and all of that. You don't do that. All right. It makes all of us look stupid because those are the people that represent us as a country. And all of the images you will see everywhere, those are the kind of images. So I think they could have handled this thing better. And I'm surprised that IG Coleman and the team, they continue to do this because this is not the first time. They are projecting the image of the police as a gangster unit. This is not, it's about policing is a science. It's not about brute force, and dominating and projecting strength all the time. No, that is not what policing is about. It is about peace, security, making sure the citizenry feel comfortable and peaceful. So I think they could have found a better way to bring her in. Having said that, I agree with what Robert is saying. The vice president has been in government or around government for almost 30 years. She was a former first lady. She was a senator. She was a vice president. So I think she has an understanding of what happens when people are within the sphere of power. She has seen it. Her former husband. There are things that he was accused of, which some of which may not even be true. But again, the same guilt by association by our Liberian people. So I agree with Robert. I think our handlers should, whether we should leave it on the handlers, I'm not sure. But the things I'm hearing that she got on a flight and that was paid for by these people and went to a country in the Middle East and all of that, if this is true, then she should know better. You and I know there is no free lunch. Nobody will just put you on a plane and take you to, wherever. You should know that it's a quid pro quo. They are looking for something in return. So the fact that she was so exposed, I think is very concerning, And so I am totally against the way she was treated, but I'm also against the law, I hope this government will transparently conduct the investigation. And if she's found to be culpable, I think the law should take its course. Because I'm seeing some of the photos. Yeah, this is the age of AI and all of that, but some of the things that we're seeing, I'm just still in shock. I am still really trying, to wrap my head around what we are watching, what we're looking at. So, I think there is a lot to be unpacked here, and hopefully this trial, I don't know whether it will be, they will open it to the press and all of that. And the evidence that they have, they will present it so that, hopefully we'll all take a look at what they are looking at. But it looks like, from what I'm hearing, Robert and Dr. Peabody, looks like these people have a lot on the vice president. So, I hope she feels better. I understand she's not doing very well. My prayers to her. I hope she recovers. And let's see or hear the evidence that these people have against her. But I can tell you, some of the photos that I saw, they look very, very compromising for this vice president, like I said, who has been in or near power for almost 30 years. I mean, you're talking about since practically 1989, since the incursion. Charles Taylor was the head of the incursion. She was already first lady then by de facto.
Yeah.
then she became the first lady NPRG government in Ghana, and came to Monrovia, became the first lady of the Republic of Liberia. You know, and then so I would think that she would know better. So, and I'm not passing judgment at all. I'm not even close. But I'm just saying, there are questions that I hope we'll all find answers to as the case, unravels.
Exactly, as you said, the manner in which she was arrested, I just felt there should have been some decency, at least get her on a house arrest and things like that would have been good, for her. That would have been, that's my only concern that I have. But they said they have a lot of evidence. I'm looking forward to see that, and I just made a share with Robert, a couple years ago when we were on Spoon or on Spoon TV. I remember going to see President Barker with Stanton Weatherspoon.
Okay.
And it was Tony George and the other lady. We went to see President Barker. And I still remember Stanton had given me his bag to hold, and he took a very large consignment money. Very large consignment. Maybe it could have been around $40,000 or $50,000 catch. And took it upstairs to President Barker. I still remember the president first president came down at the time. He met us. All of us were given an African shirt. I still have the shirt that was given to me. And then Stanton did an interview with him and, gave him large consignment of money, and then after maybe a year, Stanton was arrested and stuff like that. But what I said was Stanton made significant contribution. I'm telling you, one I can personally attest to. A large consignment of money. I still remember those who were there. I remember the current ambassador, large. What's the guy named? Charles Snyder was there. One of those who was fired. Patrick Dole was there that day. And a couple of folks were there. And we went there. And Stanton took this huge sum of money and told me to hold his bag and took it upstairs and stuff like that. And then a couple of years ago, years, Stanton got into that problem, and so it's like all of our government officials sometimes become very vulnerable when it comes to people who have money. They make themselves vulnerable. We saw that the current vice president, one of the guys that were arrested, he's on a lot of picture with the current vice president, Jeremiah Cohen. And we see photos with former Vice President Joel Howard Taylor. It seems like people do not draw the line that this person is a high-profile government official. They don't do the due diligence in who they're bringing around them. The moment somebody come and can show a couple of $100,000, they take him to go see the president. The next thing, they take him to go meet the other day I saw a Ghanaian blogger who is very popular. To the president house having breakfast. He met the president of Liberia. I'm not saying that but sometimes the dignity and pride of the office should be respected. You don't just take anybody there to meet those people. You don't just take anybody to the president office. You don't just take anybody to the vice president office or to the home. They got to do the due diligence who these guys are. If I go Maria right now, I probably got 200 or 300,000 and say I want to give 50,000 to the vice president, book to take me there to see. People should do the due diligence in who they bring around these people to see them or who they meet. And that's one of the problem we have the vice president having now. You may not know, she probably just felt these guys were really real investors. They really want to do it and they ask her, oh, we need this from you. And then she probably provided the help. She may not be involved in the drugs at all, don't know what's going on, but because the level of assistance that she provided, that's why I got her in this mess. Maybe they could have been, I want to bring investor. So, man, yes, bro, for you, this is $75,000 at least to help you with a project and things like that. Bam, you get convinced. We don't want you to help out with this. Or please do that. We'll bring you to Dubai. You'll come. Can you imagine a sitting vice president flying to a place like Dubai to meet somebody you don't know, somebody who's involved in a lot of crime around the world, and you're meeting these people, they're flying you, they're putting you in a hotel, they give you a gift, and they ask you, oh, please help out with this. You're doing it, and you get caught up. So it's our leaders are not protected, and I even from the presidency, like you guys have said, our leaders are not protected. Because at the time, First President Barker didn't want to know where the money was coming from. They were bringing it, and they were cash stripped. Jake Kavakali were always coming to Stanton to ask for help, and when the money came, he was taking it to the president, President Barker, stuff like that. So you see the frustration now with Stanton. Stanton gave him a lot of money, and now what he wanted, they don't want to give it to him.
Right.
So he they're against them because he spent a lot of money on them, a lot of them. Yeah,
but the even I don't think that's I don't think it's a good thing if she's aware of it, but I don't think it proves anything that someone of a foreign investor, who is a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, will want to send a private jet to Liberia to have the vice president fly over to Dubai. It doesn't prove that she's involved or she went to Dubai to have drug-related meetings, which is why, again, I continue to again, I wait for the evidences and to see what the state really have. But if the recording is what, if the recording and there's talk about private jet to fly to Dubai, and they will have to prove that the vice president in her official capacity either went overseas to generate resources to help the government invest in economy, or whether or not that was more of a personal drug related case. How do you prove that? It didn't happen as a private citizen. It happened in her official capacity as vice president. One can also argue that who's providing the private jet for Joseph Boakai? Who's providing a private jet for JMB? We don't know who these business partners are. They're in Africa. They could be traffickers for all we know. Some of these jets are coming from places that are very questionable. These are business folks that are massively corrupt. They haven't told us who these people are, but you see the president, being sent private jet to go to certain countries. Who are these people who own these private jets? So, if they attempt to take that to court, I don't know how they're going to win the case. But I want to see, maybe as the weeks and the days goes by, we will begin to see, hear some things from our sources. But based off what I've heard so far, I don't know how this is going to go. But we'll see what happens. When you listen to charges like unlicensed distribution of controlled substances, that's
a serious crime. Yeah, serious.
You know what I mean? So I don't know what will happen, but I hope that, again, we want to fight drugs, but I'm still waiting to see the senior officials from this administration that have been involved, and they will have to answer in court if this so-called business in question halted in 2023. Under whose influence did it resume in 2025? We know that the business resumed in 2025. And so if the VP or any other part of the government official were involved in accommodating these people, it's been almost 3 years since they left power. So what's going on then? Who's helping them now? And who those senior officials are? Who are they in this administration, right? And when are they going to be arrested? When are they going to be charged? So we'll see what happens.
So let me say this quickly, Robert. You made some good points, but let me quickly remind you one. Any official of government, including the vice president, they have to seek permission for the president to leave the country. Minister, anybody. Now, the president himself has to inform the legislature when he's leaving the country. So there are checks and balances there to establish, because you're making the argument that who knows whether they were on official business. Yes, there will be paper trail that will establish that, yes, the vice president did inform the president or president office that she was going to Dubai then you have to specify why you're going to Dubai. That paper trail is going to be there. If the president is just flying the private jet over the place, you have the legislature will have some kind of paper trail that look. On June 23rd, the president wrote us that he was flying to Burkina Faso or wherever. So there are a little bit of checks and balances there. And we will see, whether, whatever evidence you provide will stand up to scrutiny. But again, we're talking about handlers and all of that's where the vetting is also important. Dr. Peabody is making this point. No, you don't just bring people into your sphere, Ravel, who have not been vetted, especially the vice president of Liberia. That's why the current vice president and Anthony Denuka and all of these people, that's why he raised eyebrow. He didn't know the man taking picture of it. But you're the man, only the two of you are in an office space. You're shaking hands with the man. You say the man is just some casual president you're taking picture with. That doesn't really stand the scrutiny. You understand? So yes, the people around before this president gets even through even if it is the private house, the guests of the vice president, the vetting team would have gone ahead and vetted this person. Sometimes and again, we've seen some of these guys we talked about, or what's his name? The guy who was with the vice president, the president's son, all of that. He was in the company of the president with a phone in your hand, all of that. When I met with the president, they made me leave my phone in the tray. They make you leave your phone. Yeah. So and Dr. People are talking about a certain amount of comfortability. Unless you're so comfortable with this person now, you understand me? Yeah, let my son come with his phone and all of that, because you don't want to catch the president or the vice president in uncompromising position, take a picture with the president, maybe eating and all of that stuff. All kinds of stuff. And even the security. These days the phones are very, very, very powerful. They do a lot of things.
Yeah, they record you. They record you unknowingly. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's part of the reason why they don't let you let your phone in certain places. And what people don't understand, you can also demand, you can also demand these things. If you're going for a meeting, for instance, you can say, listen, if I'm not comfortable, I think we both should keep our phones, away from the meeting. Yeah. And people can demand that, especially in Liberia. I would do that. If I'm meeting with some people that I don't know right now, I'm not going to be having an open conversation with people like that.
I tell you a personal experience. Maybe a year or two ago, my wife and I were in Monrovia. My wife's from Nimba. She knows Prince Johnson. He's a family. So we went to see the lift senator, and I have a phone with me. I can tell you he was very uncomfortable. He was looking at my phone without saying it. His eyes were telling me, "Okay, you big man, fool, you need to get rid of this phone. I'm uncomfortable." So I had to turn it off and put it on his table. Just to show him that I will not do anything funny, because look, just for the same thing we're seeing, people come when you are in power, people come into your sphere of influence with separate different intentions. Some of these people, they just need to take a photo with you, and they go and shop around. I'm friends with Robert. Robert is a hotelier, he can put you up in any way. I can talk to Robert. There are a lot of things that people can do with these things. So before you get close to leaders such as the president, the vice president, the speaker, the pro tem, the people like those, if vetting would have happened behind the scenes, who is this person? What is their history? What are they into? What do they do? What is the track record in what they say they do? Do they have established track record in mining or whatever it is that they say they're doing? So all of these questions would have been answered. You can just get in town and they go and see somebody. Dr. People are talking about 50 grand. I have far lesser amounts. Some people talk about 10,000 or less, for some of these people put up and they see, our higher ups in government. And I just think, I know times are hard on all of us, but our people have to be careful. He's narrating his own story with, the president. But the president just said it. He lived alone. He will deal with even the devil. He said all of those things, and we gave him the reins of power. What do we expect?
Now they can't even tell us who's building that, who financing that place in Foya. That Foya, they can't tell who financing it.
We had a deputy minister on here. He was smart talking. We just wanted for you to guess. That was a lie. You know the story went for almost 2-3 months. They themselves couldn't get the story right. The minister of state, he had no idea. So he came here acting like, oh, we knew all along. We're just trying to see where y'all will come away, all of that nonsense. He sat here and said that. I didn't want to, we just probably let that pass. But they themselves, now we're hearing the same thing is going on in Sierra Leone. They're building this drug kingpin was resident in Sierra Leone, who they now call Omar Sharif, or what's his local name, this guy from the Netherlands. I'm not saying he's the one building the place in Foya, but similar thing is happening in we understand in Sierra Leone that he is sponsoring, and yet we don't.
They've been accommodating him for a minute now.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah, they've been accommodating him for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, I really hope they will be transparent with this whole investigation, because the president's son is here in the States. He's jollying around the country. I saw him in Minnesota for a funeral, and he's around jolly, and he was named in this, but he didn't go to. Nobody says he's involved, but at least he should have gone to the police station too to answer questions like how you had the former vice president carrying her all around, pointing gun. I think he should have reported for investigation, but nothing like that. So I just hope to be transparent. I mean, I'm in for them fighting this drug and bringing the perpetrators of this crime to justice, but they also should be very transparent in who, when they name people, and because they say even some of the folk that they name haven't even been arrested. They're around moving freely and doing things freely. So, but what do you guys think?
I ask you this, right? If there weren't a preponderance of evidence, why do you think Biago stepped aside?
Mm-hmm.
He himself asked to be recused. And yet, do we know of any investigation going on him? None that you and I are aware of, I mean, do we need to name other people? So it is clear that, the way they're doing this, they have been selective. If you are for the government, you get special treatment. I mean, we're just talking about the vice president who they took her in. And then you look at the Jamal King fellow, the way he was taken in. You understand me? Clearly, there is, a preferential treatment going on here. But let me pass it over. I would say this. The president's son has to be careful because he's not the first president's son to be as young as he is. And his dad is president and he all over the place. I mean, we all know where Chucky Taylor is. And I'm not saying, but he has to be very careful. These things are transitory, after 6 years or 12 years, whatever it is, you have, he's young. He has a life ahead of him. So he just needs to be careful.
Yep. You got to be very careful.
I think the movement of Georgia, I think is pretty strategic. I think it was already decided it was in his best interest not to be involved directly in government. Mm-hmm. But there are other things that he's involved with. A lot of things that's happening that people don't know. Yeah. In preparation of whatever. And so but I don't know. As it stands right now,
I can tell you, influence peddling. You know that influence peddling it can be rewarding even more than a government job.
Absolutely.
Obviously, president's son. Exactly. So
definitely.
And he playing a lot of roles in the mining era. He won a lot of roles. He's playing in there. The manager at the National Port Authority, who's on this welfare fraud allegation, it's a very close buddy to him. He was one of those who advocated for Sekou to go to that place. He and Louis Tama, who's the treasurer for the president. They both Louis live in Minnesota. She and her husband were just who's the director at JFK, Dr. Tama, who's the stepson of President Barker, I believe, who is accused of recently building. He built a big hospital just in recent time. Big hospital. President Barker was there to dedicate that building, and people were accusing them of even using resources from JFK and taking it to that hospital. But I know that they just built a hospital. President Barker, I remember, was there when they did the dedication of the hospital. and all of that. That was on. In fact, one of the guys from Closing Acumen wrote a long story on it. Went to the hospital, took pictures, and all of that hospital stuff like that. So Jojo has
and that's my fear. My fear is that at the rate that the Unity Party is going, especially after a particular, that's mentioned CDC, my fear and is that
I think Robert's going up.
Yeah, has a call. He has a call coming. But look, I tell you this, that for full disclosure, I know Luis. We were study mate. We were on Cardinal together. She even knows my wife more than she knows me. But I know Luis very well. We're on Cardinal together. She has always been a quiet person. I was shocked. We ran into her when we were in Monrovia, I think in January. The president was on his way, I believe, to Togo. And we flew on the same flight from Monrovia to Abidjan, I think. And then they branched out, I was shocked when I heard this. I heard you mention this a couple of times. I haven't taken much interest in it, but I will have to say this. Sekou Dougle, you just said your experience with Mr. Witherspoon and the kind of thing he did for the president. I've heard a lot of people say Sekou Dougle did similar thing for the president because he's been running this home for over 10 years. And I understand he's a very generous giver, and he has known this president for quite a while. So I won't be surprised if his proximity to the president is not similar to your experience that you had with your friend. Also, So I heard people say, Sekou has been very close to the president before he even became, president, and he's been around money for over 10 years. He's been running this home. If you take the average, that's about $3.6 million averaging a year. Even when you pay your staff and all of that, I understand the reporting talks about the expensive cars and things. He drove Mercedes Benz, BMW. So he has had some excess, some change to spare. And I understand. Even Henry Costa in his broadcast defending him said that he's been generous. He's been generous with his So again, and yet with all of this, we voted this president, but it's clear this president is beholden to a lot of people. A
lot.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot of people.
A lot of people, and some of these people are now in government. His son has to run these people, and of course, he's rewarding most of these people. But the investigation, we said it here in Minnesota. I listened to Henry Costa. I don't know him, but I've always felt he's a young brother who could use a little bit of guidance. I think that he has gifts, but sometimes I just think he rushes in too quickly. This Sekou Dougle thing, I saw he was very angry. People on his own chat were telling him stuff he didn't like. He was, went and started quoting Bible voices and all of that. That's when I knew he lost it. And 2 days later, what happened? The state of Minnesota feel there was sufficient evidence of fraud. And they're closing. You understand me? And we said it. If there isn't that because of the political seizing and the governor being a Democrat and the president in the White House a Republican, they are not going to let themselves be, sacrificed over anything, and being used politically. So they made a move, and I don't know how Henry Costa is taking it now that this has happened, because he was very, very emphatic in his defense that this meant nothing, and the story reporting, it said it meant nothing, and then look, here we are.
I mean, So I mean, the president got help from a lot of people, and some of them they need to get their payback.
Of course,
they got to get it back. But what do you think about 20 people arriving in Liberia? I think yesterday or today, 20 people. They have a big issue.
The same transparency we're talking about, right? I don't know, maybe I'm being too simplistic, but I really think if people understand what you're doing, I think it will remove a lot of the speculation that accompanies some of these things. I listened to the Minister of Information. So far, that is the only thing I've heard from the government. And just informing us that there will be about 1,200 people arriving in the country without saying who these people were, though he said they were coming from, without even being specific. Some are from Africa, and I think he said Western World or something like that, right? I think there is for instance, what is the arrangement upon which these people are coming? Who are they? If these people are just like what they say, you know, per country, you know, the police, usually those are immigration people, right? These are the people who are waiting for processing, but they cannot come into the U.S. until their papers are processed, but yet they can't go back to their country. Most of those people are not necessarily criminal and stuff like that.
No.
But if some of these people that are convicts, you understand me? Some of these people are sex offenders, some of these people are at the worst of the worst, you understand me? Then there will be reason for concern. I mean, here we are, we have people bringing all kinds of things into our country because of the vulnerabilities of our security system, and we're going to actually open the gates to, I don't know, 1,200, maybe out of those 1,000 of those people might be hardened criminals. We don't know. So the government, there's a need for them to come out and explain to us what is happening. What is the country getting out of this? I saw some of the clips that some of our colleagues put in there. You know, already we are becoming a laughing stock. You know, the laughing stock of our regional brothers and sisters. You know, in the region. You know, and for what? So again, I will pass it back to you. But I wish it would be a little bit more transparent. Explain to us what is happening, why you're doing this, what you hope to get out of it, how does the country benefit. And then we let us weigh the net. You know, is the net going to be positive for us? But there isn't much information on what is happening.
I understand that. I just read in the New York Times that the U.S. government is offering $5 million to the Liberian government to help with their migration program and all of that. So I don't know what this money is going to do, how they're going to use it, because those people coming into Liberia, where they're going to be staying until they get a job, how they're going to be fed and stuff like that. You know, you bringing in people in your country, they don't know your country, they don't know anybody there, they don't have a job. Are you going to give them allowance until they go back to their country? Who's going to pay their way to go back? I don't know how this is going to work. I really don't.
Yeah. Are they prisoners? Are they do they need to be held, or are they free to walk around? What are they? Who are they? You know? And 5 million. I mean, I have heard far bigger than that, but you know, I'll go by that. I've heard.
Yeah, but it's going to give them another $100-something million to help them with another project. There was something that somebody posted in the chat room. Maybe I'll play it, you know, and then maybe in about 10 minutes we'll
for our listening audience. But you got to remember that while you're preparing that, you know, there is maintenance that comes with this. I don't believe all of this will be just for, you know, I think a part of it will be, you know, I don't know, again, because of lack of information, we don't have the details, but who's going to be responsible for these people? You know, there is a maintenance that comes with it. Look, some of these people who are in, just say for instance, people who are in the system, some of these people, they're averaging somewhere around, you know, $300-400 a day, right? Just to take care of these people. So, you know, I don't know the situation with these people, but they come with maintenance. They have to eat. Some of them may not be well. They have to be medically taken care of. You know, they got to dress, you know, the personal hygiene, you know, there's a whole lot of stuff that is associated with this.
Yeah. There's one Nigerian news, and then I'll play this, and then hopefully we'll do our closing, and then we'll be done.
Absolutely. All the guys, everybody busy and they're leveling. Well, I just joined you too, so I think I'm a part of the pack. But I think Jerome is started off, right? Remember?
Yeah, Jerome, I understand he took a kiss back. Mr. Nama, go ahead. Let me just take the call. Go ahead.
Sure. So I'm sure they took calls already, but ladies and gentlemen, it's nice of you to join us. This is Open Mic Friday, you know that, so we really don't have specific topics. But you know, we're just providing our opinion on some of these trending issues. I guess you've already called in to make your points, but we're just trying to understand, just like you. We don't have as much information on these things, and we're just trying to figure out you know, like Ronnie C would say, we're just trying to connect the dots. So we're trying to figure things out. But you know, these are very, very trying times for our country. There's so much happening, and this government style seems to suggest to us that this is too much for them. You know, and multitasking and being seriously engaged. You know, it's a look. Right now, for instance, you know, we move on from the 19 million. We're just talking about the 370 million, but that whole story that began from June 8th or 9th, you know, we're not. I don't know if all of this is all part of the picture. We have no idea. Again, because they're not telling us anything. So we have that happening. Former vice president, another big story happening. In the midst of all of that, 120 foreigners are coming into the country from the US. We have no information on that. You know, and so when we come on here and we're talking these things, we're talking because they are giving our cause to speculate. We will not speculate if they give us the information. Just come on and tell us what is happening. Even you bring them on as guests, you know, they will come on here and bloviate, you know, and they want to show all they are the smartest people on set, you know, and you know, I mean, they're smart enough. That's why they're in government. So we already get that. So don't be coming on here and trying to prove to us that you're too smart. Just come on and tell us already, you know, what it is you're doing. I think that's why we bring you on here, so that you can communicate with our people and let them know what the government is doing. I think that's the opportunity we're trying to give you to explain what you're doing. But some of them, yes, some of them do come on and do very well. But some of them come on here, they're very combative. You know, they want to show to us, you know, that we're little people, you know, and they're way smarter than us, you know, and sometimes that tends to take away, you know, the purpose of their coming, which is to communicate to us and our audience on what this government is doing. But then they tell us, oh, you don't pay attention. You know, when we talk, you don't pay attention. But of course, when you talk, then you come up with some of these theatrics that tend to actually, you know, step on your own message. And we're saying that to the deputy minister who was here on Wednesday, that, you know, sometimes you put out good information, but you don't give us time enough to absorb it and digest it. And then you come up with these, you know, these inflammatory, you know, descriptors of opposition people. You know, the former president of the whole country for 6 years, you compare his thinking faculty to that of a mosquito, and he denied it, but he did say that, you know, referred to an opposition leader, the man who has been the head of a multinational company, billions of dollars, call him a dwarf or whatever you refer to him, you know. He's just antagonizing everybody, senator, anybody who's critical, who's asking critical questions, not even questions, not opposition, just critical questions that anybody will want answers to. But if you dare ask these questions, you know, then, you know, you become the no man, you know, and they bring the brakes down on you, you know. They write all their stuff on social media all day, trying to show you that you are a nobody, you know. They're smarter than you, you know, and that in itself, it takes away from the message. They're doing some stuff. I have to believe there's some stuff they're doing, but they're not getting out of their own way. They're not giving them the message, the opportunity to marinate, so to speak, you know, to settle down, you know, and let the seasoning, the juice flow out of it. They come and step all over it with their antics, you know, all these little things they do, you know. They think they tend to suck the air out of the room, you know. And that's what we're trying to tell our brother. He came on here, you know. He started, you know, Sylvester P was a firecracker. Robert, know that.
What
P
happened?
was a firecracker. No, I'm saying the minister came on here, and I really thought, you know, for almost an hour it was a missed opportunity, because he came to tell us what they're doing, and then he himself was saying we're not paying attention to what they're doing. And I was saying to him, but sometimes you step on your own message, you know, all of these little antics that you are engaged with, you know, everybody knows you got a master.
So now
You're very smart.
you're gonna make people come on the show. Listen, Bill was mad. Listen, no one.
And then he went and attacked the neoliberal. You're progressive.
No, no one wants to feel disrespected, and I think sometimes Daniel Sanders. You know, one thing I like about him, I don't like his antics, and I think he is condescending and disrespectful to some extent. And sometimes you feel like you need to give him a taste of his own medicine. You know what I'm saying? But I just like the fact, like I told people, I like the fact that he still makes himself available. Not too many people come on here knowing that they're walking into the lion's den. You know what I'm saying? Like, so sometimes I like to go easy on him to create a space where we can really dialogue and have a conversation. But he tried that nonsense with me when he came here first. He tried that nonsense with me. And I myself went off. He tried that nonsense with me and I went off too. So when I saw people going off, I kept my mouth shut. I just kept because Daniel he has a way of getting on your damn nerves. He has a way of doing that. So when he's telling people to shut up, you don't tell a grown man to shut up on public radio. You know what I'm saying? People listening like, "You're gonna go tell the man to shut up."
Especially Sylvester Pewee.
Yes, and so he's going to respond.
That guy was something else.
Then he told Tubale, "Oh, now you need to tell us what interest you have. You need to tell us what interest you have." To himself.
Yeah, he had to find a way to get around all the question. So he didn't. I said, so why did the president still have a press conference? They say, oh, the man admitted that he knew, he tried to contradict himself around him, but
yeah, exactly. The guy is, but I still like the fact that, and then so you see, when you go hard on him now, then he kind of calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you see, in Liberia, one thing I realized, even if you can't beat a man, somebody got to come off tough because when people know that you just they'll take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? That's how Liberia politics is. And so when he's doing all that tough talking, I still like the fact that he's willing to come on. He's coming on next week again, so we can dialogue and have conversations surrounding the issues. But when Sylvester is mad, he just go off. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I can get mad, but it would take me a minute.
Yeah, I just look. I like, you know what?
But Sylvester
Pewee is like seconds. He goes from 0 to 100 in seconds. And he's a diplomat.
Listen, but that's funny, man. That's funny.
But listen,
so
man,
today they accepted.
Great. I don't think that is having luck with that tape. So I think we can. You ready to play it?
Yeah, let me just play it and then we can do our closing and we'll call it for the weekend. I just want to play it. It was a Nigerian television station called Arise. They were talking about this.
I think it was Arise.
Arise. I mean, very interesting conversation on
you didn't call that station Arise or Aris?
I think Arise or something they called it, but I have it here. And then I will just play it and then we can call it a day. I don't know why. Let me see. See, like I'm having problem down here. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Liberia, it has agreed to accept up to 1,200 deportees from the United States. None of those people are actually from Liberia. They are from other African countries, from the Americas, from the Caribbean, and they are being deported to Liberia, where it is believed that they have said that these people will have the opportunity to apply for asylum within Liberia or indeed move on to other countries. Liberia have also made clear that this is not a quid pro quo situation with the United States. Donald Trump, as we know, has been dumping many third-party deportees on the African continent, and Liberia is now the latest list of countries on the African continent to accept with welcome arms these deportees coming into their country. We have heard from their Minister of Information, who shed a bit more light on this subject. Let's take a listen to what he...
Did you know?
Okay, they have let me get this. They have their stuff on it. They have they gotta play the ad and put it back on. So
he had to say.
Liberia intends to accept up to 1,200 persons to be transferred from the United States of America within a year. The persons to be transferred to Liberia are 10 country nationals, some of whom may wish to seek asylum in Liberia. Honor the agreement or arrangement. Those to be transferred from the United States of America to Liberia will include citizens or nationals of African and Western Hemisphere countries who are medically authorized to travel.
So interesting times ahead where we're looking at Trump's relationship with the African continent, especially where third-party deportations are concerned. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Okay, I mean, Femi, I don't know, but what's the deal in it for Liberia? How much are they getting? Because
they said it's humanitarian.
No.
That's what they said.
Or is it because Trump said his English is very good? The president of Liberia's English is very good. There must be something they are getting. When the UK wanted to bring people to Rwanda, it was paid for, right?
They support projects and infrastructure.
It was paid for.
Yes.
Yes.
Nothing.
In other cases, it's going to be paid for. So Liberia, that is already a poor country, just wants to do it for free.
Yeah.
Is it because of the former American heritage they have?
Well, they're making it clear. It might not be for free, but they're saying that it's humanitarian. They've also made clear that there's no quid pro quo between the two of them.
There's nothing humanitarian about it. Are there Liberians there?
Where? None of the 1,200 are Liberians, but there are some Africans. And they have said that if they choose to stay in Liberia, they can do so.
People. See, Liberia did not choose that scientists should come to them. They didn't choose that intellectuals should come to them. It's criminals. And they say if they choose. Why is there always bad things Africa used to attract? At least we heard the one from Ghana. There were some of our West African brothers, and that's why they collected them and they dispersed them immediately back here. So you just choose to get the hardened of the hardened criminals, and you say they choose to stay here, and you're telling me that there's nothing involved. They should investigate too. They should. I don't think there's something.
All right, there is something. Okay. Nothing goes for nothing. Al Jazeera reports that the US has committed $124 million to health infrastructure in Liberia. They also negotiated a visa deal last year that rather than 12 months, they extended to 36 months visa extension. There's something in it for Liberia. There's no country that is altruistic to the extent that you're taking back returnees when your country itself has high unemployment rates. You have infrastructural challenges. Your annual refugee intake as a country normally is about 1,169, not up to the 1,200 in one fell swoop from the United States. It's not humanitarian alone. And I do think, going back to Rufai's point, that it's quite unfortunate that deals like this are entered into by African countries like this for gain. What they couch it under is that, we're going to support the process by contributing money because we know that there'll be administrative costs into having these extra people in your country. It is money. The worst part of it, okay, let's assume that they weigh the options and this is a gain for the countries, that oftentimes the money is not even spent for what it's supposed to be used for. If you look at the history, there will be no transparency, corruption will erode the benefits, and the people themselves who would have to live with the reality of scarce resources even becoming more scarce because more people are going for those scarce resources will not even benefit directly from it. So it's, there are laws, there are suits, lawsuits in the United States and in Liberia against this. Liberia, in terms of the legal part of it, is signed to the UN Convention of Refugees. So there are certain criteria that they must meet to ensure that these refugees will be well looked after and that they have the capacity to look after them and give them dignity of life. Can Liberia meet that threshold? That is the big question. There's no African country that the people themselves have not protested this, but the leaders have taken the decision to take whatever it is that Washington is giving them in exchange for accepting these deportees.
All right. They are getting something to even help them strengthen their migration system. However, the issues we have seen in other countries in Africa about human rights. Nobody in Liberia has raised those issues. Maybe those issues will still come to the fore and more details will be provided. But we still congratulate or thank Nigeria for refusing to be a dumping ground for the United States. Nigeria was one country.
Okay. Guys, so that's it. I think it's a very, very, very fair statement from the Nigerian panelists of Irish TV. You know, I think it was very fair. But I want to hear your point on this, and then maybe we'll just close on this for today.
They something was said that in that exchange was that does Liberia have the capacity to provide a life of dignity to these refugees when their own people, when we cannot even provide that dignity to our own people? And this is the point that I've made. You know, it's not against accepting refugees or deportees or people seeking asylum. It can return to that country for whatever reason, but what kind of life are we giving them? The Times have reported that Liberian government, and this is according to the New York Times, that Washington approved about $5 million payments in this deal. And so where does this money go? What does this, I mean, $5 million is not, it's, I mean, is it to ensure that these people have homes? These are not necessarily families. These are people picked up from different corners and you know, put on the plane. They don't even, some of them didn't even know they were going to Liberia. I think 5 of them resisted even deplaning today in Liberia. They were later transported to Equatorial Guinea, based on what we've heard. And some of the folks had no idea that they were coming to Liberia, and they felt very disappointed that they had come to Liberia. And listen, Liberia is a sweet country, but let's face the fact. We can enjoy Liberia today because God has blessed us and we can afford whatever we want to afford in Liberia. But how many Liberians in Liberia don't wish to leave Liberia if given the opportunity now? They're not leaving because they hate the country. They're leaving because they want to go to a place where there are opportunities, where they can work, take care of themselves, build a future for themselves and their family. The Liberian government cannot provide that for Liberians in Liberia, and we don't even have the blueprint to start that process. So what are you giving to these people, and how much? How much is $5 million? What can that do? And so we'll see what happens. The total was 1,200 people. I think this were 20 people landed today. And lastly, I'll close on this note. Security is a concern in Liberia right now. Some of these people are from Cuba. Some of these people are from Colombia. Some of these people are from Venezuela. These are not Liberians. Most of these people are not from Africa. They are coming from places where we're dealing with the same drug issue, and we don't even know who these people are. The Liberian government don't know the history of some of these people. They don't. But we're just accepting them. We're just accepting them. And if you were to do a poll today, and I'm sure that a lot of Liberians would have objected to this idea, but this is what we get when we have government and politicians who make decisions like this without consulting the Liberian people. They don't care whether or not people agree to it or not. They just make the decision based on what Washington DC throws at them, and I think this is what the Liberian government did. But we'll see how this unfolds.
Tuffy, good to see you. We're just getting ready to roll out. But you've been following the show. We'll bring you in, then we'll come to Mr. Nangwe, and then we'll call it a day. But if you guys want to stay, you guys can stay. I gotta
no,
rush.
man, it's fine then. I just hang out though. I miss hanging out with you guys this week, so I just hang out. That's all.
Good to
But
see
I can chime in.
But chime in on what's going on, Chua Hawatila, and the new citizen we got coming to Liberia, our new president.
That's a good way to put it. Let me start with that. Kind of concerning, I think Robert kind of touched on most of the points I was considering. I was listening to a clip from Brothers, and they talk about our government told us that, there was nothing, it was just a bilateral agreement. There was no financial gain or anything. From the clip from Reuters said, I think 5 million or something, or money, they're going to give them, from a lot of, I talk about the security risk, but also, what's concerning is this government is not fully disclosing things. They're not transparent about this whole deal. Some of these people, they say, oh, they are all Sallies, but some of these people got some violent history on them too. That's public information. And so they're not disclosing the arrangement made with these people. First of all, true transparency, that document should have been public. That before the people came to the country, that document that is signed, that should have been public information. It should have been out there. Now I wonder if the legislature or the Senate, if they sign off on this document. I haven't heard anything from any of them other than they're kind of quiet on this. So I don't know if they approve it before, and America will not force anything on you that you don't want. Nigerian people, they didn't take it, they didn't strangle them to say, whatever. I was talking to a friend this afternoon. I said, these people are so desperate for money or to prove that they were better than the previous government. And so they're just doing crazy things. You don't even have the bandwidth to take care of your own citizens. You got enough crisis in your country. And you bring in foreign people to just dispense in the general population. And you're not even considering the risk with all these people and whatever they do to add to what you already have. So I think the foreign ministry or every last one of them, they need to come clean, explain this entire document. They need to explain what they signed up for, the security implications, the benefit, every part of it, why they're doing what they're doing. These people feel like they don't owe nobody explanation. They just come, they just do whatever they want, and they come and, give you 1% of the story, and that's it. They owe you no explanation, but they fail to realize that they work for us. And they need to be transparent and open to us in everything that they do. So I think it's concerning. I saw a picture where I think 20 or more of them. I don't know if more, came. That was yesterday. I saw or today. On the Joy Howard stuff, I've been writing a lot, and I've been all over social media with this. I'm not a seditious, of course, for no political party, but I stand for the truth. It doesn't matter what political party. Tomorrow, I may be advocating for ANC people, even though they think I'm the worst enemy. But if somebody's violated, I will stand for them. If I'll do the city for CMC, I will do it for any other party. Even the UP. Yesterday, we're fighting CDC for UP and everybody else. If CDC were doing it wrong, they were not governing right. We're saying it, but I hear people running all around talking about, oh, the woman was running away. They told her not to leave. Look. Y'all have no respect for people in their country. You think since you like to compare the country, America with Liberia, you think if they were calling Joe Biden in for questioning, you think they were going to go put X around here and create that stupid scene you did to the airport just for questioning? So, but she was on arrest. She was not on arrest. You call her for questioning. She was not running away. I don't understand how some of people, they just take sound bites and run with it. Joy Howard will go stay in exile for 15 years or however long, run for allegations. She's better off staying in the country to face that allegation than to run away to Ghana or wherever place. But when she runs away, then they prove the allegation right. I, on my level, will never do that. So how much more a woman of that stature? Y'all don't think before you start talking, you just run with somebody and just start going, blah, 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 blah. Oh, she was running away. She was not a fly risk. This is the vice VP. This is a woman of dignity. Whatever it is, even your claim, you said cartel told you that, she, they got gifts for her or she was trafficking drug, whatever it is. Just call her in. She told you, say, okay, I'll wait for my lawyer. Give her time. Okay. 24 hours, 48 hours. We need you to the police station. All of that was unnecessary. And just for questioning, even if we're on arrest, this is someone that served your country. That's your vice president. Even when people are in power, respect them just for the title. What's the dignity there? And now you cause her unnecessary health issues. She already have, from what I'm hearing from family and friends, because the stature of her age, she has pre-existing conditions. And now you cause her unnecessary stress because now the whole world see her as mother drug trafficker. I'm not gonna put my head on chopping block for anybody, but just knowing this woman, her history, people, everybody know that they have the Bible verse that say, bad company, corrupt, good character, and stuff like that. My gut feeling is telling me that's the case with her situation. Just to affect her friendship with this boy, we all know this boy to be known criminal. I don't think, and I may be wrong because I don't put my hand on chopping block, but I don't know her like that. But I don't think that Joy Howard Taylor would knowingly traffic drug. This is a woman who will have to deal with her son in the past, was dealing with the same issue, and thank God he cleaned himself like any other child in America, any part of the world. Sometimes they want to explore, but he recorrected himself. He put his life on track, had a family, and unfortunately he passed. So that the woman won't be a pioneer of drugs, trafficking drugs. I find that hard to believe. But let the evidence, the evidence point to that. And if that's the case, let her bear the full weight of it. But I think she was unjustly, disrespectfully treated. And I even heard today her lawyers and some concerned people that she authorized to come see her. They prevented them from seeing her. I mean, just making the case. But how is this government just making the test so easy to leave power, to be voted out of power? I mean, you're just making the thing so easy. Look at what you're doing. Even if CDC, that's right, say CDC were the one that brought all the drugs to the country in the past, the $500,000 drugs you got now. What happened to the people that in your own house? What happened to the people that right there that you're supposed to be lining up? Jojo Boyka was in the conference room with bundles of money all on the table with cartels. He acknowledged that the cartel called him. He told them, don't call me back or whatever this conversation is. Why you didn't call him for questioning? You didn't fly him to the airport though. He came to America, went to Minnesota with $150K plus wash. Twice. He wanted 2 different times. You ain't black the airport and said, don't go. He more fly race than Joy Howard. She got a lot to lose in that country. She's not giving it up. Jojo Boyka, he the fly race. You ain't let him go. You ain't call him for questioning nothing. Why? You're left the people in your government and you're chasing other people. You're chasing them by all means. But clean your house first before you start coming to the other people. It's like you got your yard dirty, your grass all tall, and then you go into your neighbor and telling your neighbor call your grass. How stupid is that? So we're fighting this case, but I think this government is losing this case. First of all, the case not so cold because what they did to me now, what they did with that whole Joy thing, it just messed the whole case. It was already watered down. It just messed the whole thing. And this government not known for winning cases in court anyway. So let's see how it panned out anyway. But that's my take on the Joy case. I think they could have acted better, even if they had a search warrant. And I heard they didn't have a search warrant even at that. But they could have acted better, treated her with dignity. And so that's what I have to say on this. Oh, God. I'm sorry. I didn't even know somebody was calling me. Yeah, but that's all I have to say on this matter. We'll be following.
Mr. Namwe, yeah.
Thank you, Doc, and Telvi, welcome again. This is going to be my closing. First of all, I am sure this Basiru guy who was in the company of this president was, I think, at one time, he was arrested by the feds, I believe. If he's the same guy for all kinds of charges during her presidency when she was the vice president. So again, we were just talking about, the fact that she is in the company of these questionable characters. I think that is very telling. And again, I'm not passing judgment, but I agree with Telvi, and we've all said it here. I think that they could have caught her in a better fashion than they did. Former vice president, former first lady, former senator, she has attained a certain stature in Liberia. And she deserves certain courtesies. So I disagree with them on that. But I think, let the investigation lead wherever it may. If they have the evidence, I hope they will bring it forth and that it will stand up to scrutiny. Like Telvi indicated, they have a history of losing high-profile cases, And we also know the government that she served, the CDC government, they lost $100 million case. They played yama with that case. And those people were let go free, So all of these things are questionable. And then the people, the foreigners, I don't know. We're already having security issues here. Our security, faces challenges. And these people coming in here, this is a very nervous nation. I wish they would come out and be more transparent and tell us, what they're doing. you know, and what is in it for us. You know, they, like Telly said, they work for us. I don't know whether they forget that. They are working for us. And we've said it over and over. We're paying their salaries. These people work for us, and therefore we're their bosses. And maybe they don't understand that. They owe us the courtesy of explanation, transparency. Come and talk to us and tell us what we're doing. Maybe you're doing something even better than we will appreciate, because we don't know. If you came out and explained to us, and I hope they'll do that in the next coming days. But thank you very much, great show tonight. I hope to be with you guys next week.
2 minutes. Are you coming on? I see 2 minutes coming on. So 2 minutes here.
No, I cannot say good night.
2 minutes coming. I will say I'm going, but
I'll leave you.
Always coming to the party late.
You guys,
man, what's up with that weak statement from the NPP, man? We'll talk about that next week.
But let me ask you a question. So all the calls for the director of police to be removed, the president still enjoy the IG confidence. The president,
go ahead, guys.
They call a scathing rebuke to all those calling for the IG to step aside. The president,
I just say you don't know what going on around.
That's his business. He said, Greg, we got confidence in you and we still support you. Look,
let's see what Martin tomorrow.
As a reality, the man. That let's not have consequences. You see, the president is telling y'all, I still enjoy this. The man still enjoy my confidence.
Yeah, that's.
But what people are saying. People are saying that perhaps there are bigger fish that are being shooted. So
of course,
who knows? But again, the journalists should be. What journalists can do instead of Martin College just being throwing anything out. Imagine if you go on the ground and then if the thing about it, if you want to hold information, you see journalists what they do in America, they can share. You get information, you're one today, then people always doubt you. You share with your other networks. Guess on the Clarence Jackson.
People don't give credit where credit is due, so they make.
No, I think we'll give him credit. I agree with Tomlin. I think it would be more powerful if he share.
He did all that stuff, right? Keep on all that stuff to say against the IG. What the president did today? President just saying, we hearing you. Then he came out and said, we'll still send more. We'll still do more. But from what I saw today, the president maybe he had crossed his teeth and dotted his eye. Greg got his confidence. But perhaps if you are sharing on other network, you got to share it to all per se. But get other people. And then you guys put the pressure there. But you alone doing it, you want to get all the credit? Man, now you do it. You see America, when people get breaking news, they give it to the other group. They all come away.
No, I agree with that.
But right now, he alone doing it as a result now, it's a rebuke to them.
I think it will lend him more credibility if you were to share. I absolutely agree with that. Because other platforms will definitely do their due diligence before they put it.
So what happened today? Costa got the edge now because he ain't Costa been fighting. Costa said, okay,
Costa got no edge. Costa got no credibility.
Costa defending the IG.
Costa is a defender for money. Costa will go everywhere where the money is. Show me the money, show me the favor. This is not somebody we should be talking about here.
With me, that's what you can talk about Prophet Key. Talk about Yakeden.
Who talking about Prophet Key?
No, but you see that I'm very funny.
What the credibility talking about Costa got wet edge?
See you guys next week. Good night.
Somebody else to show up, man.
No, but Timberland, before you go though, Joseph Boakai mounting the podium to tell the country that he still reposed some level of trust in the IG shouldn't be breaking news. It shouldn't be breaking news. This is just reaffirmation that the lack of action from the president, from all of what has been surrounded the IG. I mean, everyone have seen that where there's smoke, there's probably fire because all of the deputies, all of the guys that are under the IG have been one way or the other implicated in this matter, and the president has not acted. They did this quick whatever investigations and he was clear, but we've seen the lack of action. So the president coming up today to say, "Oh, Greg, we trust what you're doing," isn't breaking news to us. It might be breaking news to some other people, but we've seen. We've seen his lack of action.
Robert, that's what they call a rebuke to those calling for the medal step.
Well, I tell you that I tell you to the boycott even worth its salt. Because the thing about it is that if everybody around you, all your deputies, we are in America here. If all your subordinates got problem, professionally, you will recuse yourself so the investigation can be
I agree.
clear and
I agree with
transparent.
you. I agree with
So
you.
the black guy who's supposed to advise him, look, you need to step aside. You saw what our people, that airport thing was going on, what Ernest Hughes did. And Ernest moved his head for them to try to be, so that it could be no conflict of interest.
By the way,
actual anything.
Ernest will be our guest next week. Ernest will be our guest
Hey, wait, let me talk about tea.
next week.
So you are professional, you remove yourself so they can say, oh, there's no bias, there's no favoritism yet, so they let it go on. But the fact that Boyka can even see that, that's the problem there. Boyka don't even know what's happening around him. But besides that, he's seeing the truth and he's ignoring it. The fact that he can't even advise his chief of security to say step aside because all your deputies around here, and I don't, not that you're part of it, but I want an independent report, that tells you the kind of leader he is. Monkey see, monkey do, turn from the top.
The last time we checked, Boga got 41 months to be president.
Okay, listen.
So he's the one calling the shots. He's the one.
The president
now. So now that's look, the opposition, the Liberian press, everybody should now be taking what the president did today. They say, well, we got to get our act together because you got to.
There's nothing to get our act together about because everybody knows Brian doesn't lead. He's not a leader. He has a history. The historical data is there. He's not a leader.
But for the 51% you're opposing, he's a leader now. What do you expect?
Who what for the
1%?
If the president likes,
in the alliance brought him to power.
If the president like it, you know what else you should do tomorrow or Monday? You should also have a press conference telling the NPA general managing director that he should disregard what's happening in Minnesota. He also has a trust.
With that one,
he got communists too.
I'm sure
there is no distinction yet.
I'm sure no. But because Robert, the difference is that I'm sure Douglas this weekend he will be at the door of Mamaga Belete and Louis Tamba. And so, because there are people that are really guiding him.
And Boyka will come and say he got his communists too.
Because the American because the American people, the American people now telling Boyka say the man is corrupt. The man are correct.
That tells you
your homes now. Maybe Douglas will come and say, "No, I will step aside." But he do it.
You can see that when coming right away, bring him here and put him in jail.
The action and the decision of a strong leader should not be influenced by Washington D.C.
But all leaders then.
Okay, so yeah, well, that's what they choose to do. But what I'm saying is, Joseph Boakai has 40 years of experience. He's an elderly man. The fact that he will see something as simple as this, will say, "Listen, young man, I think you should recuse yourself. Go and clear your name. You know, take 2 weeks or 1 month." Clear your name. You must wait for Washington D.C. to say, Mr. President, what happened in Minnesota? This is very important to the American people. So what I'm saying to you, Tumalane, how he come here and tell Greg, we still got trust in you. On Monday morning, let him come and tell Douglas, I don't care what happened in Minnesota, we still got trust in you.
You come back
have trust in even Stanton. Let him also come and tell, I don't care what happened in Stanton. We still got trust in you. He's lucky he can have trust in all the suspected criminals that have business. But come 2029, we remind the president of the United Party who we have trust in and who we don't have trust in. That's all.
Of course. And they're making it so easy. I don't know who's gonna win, but they're making it so easy for that person. I know definitely will not be this party. They're going.
Opposition, we had a looking if they let that.
I mean, they're not opposition, man. They perform at the government. They're going back.
The government going.
Come on, this will be a
opposition or not. The government going. They already shut the Senate.
We have an alternative. We have a viable alternative.
It will come.
The alternative coming.
We sending you.
I said next year.
Y'all have a good weekend.
That goes to their Friday.
I'm going to a party right now.
Yeah, have a good night.